hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, right on, right on.
I'm not quite sure if you saw the first video that I played. I can definitely play it again for you if you like.
Yes, I did not see the first video. Sorry about that.
No problem. It's gonna be the last time I play it.
Homeboy look good, and I said, boy, you
Nah,
look good,
bro.
boy, today,
No,
boy.
don't say it like that.
Oh, that's my brother.
It is something
Nigga,
wrong
you
with
look
that.
damn good.
It is something wrong with that. Are
There's
you
a lot.
serious?
It's a problem telling another man on cameras in front of people. Yo, man, you look fresh. Ain't no wrong
Fresh,
with that.
that's a good word.
That's cool.
Fresh.
Can't use trigger words, man.
Like good.
Like good.
You say trauma words, right?
I said trigger words.
Trigger words. So that mean that, are you traumatized by men telling you look good? I didn't never thought that it was a bad thing to say, Scrap, you look good. If I look at you sometimes, I'll be like, oh, look good.
No, bro. He gave you a word.
Well,
Fresh.
y'all look fresh.
Fly.
If I say fresh, that's your outfit look fresh, but you as an individual,
Nah.
I'm so heterosexual that I can't see a Diddy bone in my body.
Can you
I
not
can
have
say
a
what I
Diddy
wanna
word
say.
in your mouth?
Think about it. That's a metaphor. I ain't got a Diddy bone in my body.
No,
I don't got a pump in
listen.
me, and
No,
Pump ain't never put his
listen.
bone in me.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right. Is it okay for a heterosexual man to tell another man he looks good?
Nah, I don't think I don't see the problem. But I'm more concerned about all pain laughing so goddamn hard. That's more of a problem to me personally. But no, I don't see nothing wrong with it, man. I mean, hey, some people say you look casket clean. You looking sharp in your suit. I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with that. But I know some of these young cats, maybe their mindsets go over to that direction, maybe because they really want to live that lifestyle. I don't know. I mean, I don't understand.
Mm.
You can learn that. All you gotta do is just listen.
Well.
No, that's right.
I think it could be a generational type of thing. Now, Scrappy is also, isn't he in Atlanta? I think Scrappy is in Atlanta. And that could be triggering to him because maybe he gets hit on by men. So it could be your where you are on the map. It could be your geographical location where certain things are just like, whoa, we're gonna keep it. We're not crossing the lines. We're not blurring the lines. You keep that. You look good stuff over there, and I'm going to keep it to the fly and fresh. And those are the adjectives that I'm going to use. So I believe it does depend on exactly who you're talking to, how they grew up, how they spoke with their either male friends, family, one in their circle, or even outside of their circle, but in their geographical region of where they live at.
Precious, it went left when he said, sometimes I be looking at you and I be like, you look good. He said, sometimes I be looking at you. And he said, you look good. If you're in a room full of men, we gonna dissect that quick. You be like, what do you mean sometimes you be watching me?
But why is it such a
and
quick?
I look good?
Why is it such a quick?
King Smith, come on. Pink.
You
gotta drink water on that.
I didn't hear him say I'd be looking at you sometimes. I thought he said, if I look at you and say you look good, I'm talking about your well-being. Not that they wanted him to be talking about their aesthetic, and that's not what he was talking about.
Like he said, I heard him say sometimes in paraphrasing, sometimes look up like, yo, you look good, you my bro. He tried to smooth it out.
Clarified what he was saying. So when someone clarifies what they're saying, if you believe that they're now not saying that, what does that say about you? You just want them to be saying that.
No. I want to know how long you've been looking at me.
And I don't mean you as a person. I'm just saying, if someone says, I am not saying this is what I'm saying. If you continue to pin what they're not saying on them, what does that say about the person that is pinning on them what they're not saying is what I'm saying.
You have a very good point, but words have meaning and they have power. I was on a podcast on a Flip Network, and there's this guy named Backwoody, and he said he spent 3 hours with a transsexual, but he didn't know it was a transsexual. Then his words, I broke them down. It ended up being the transsexual was in his house, was wearing his hoodie, and then he realized at that point in time that the transsexual was not a biological woman.
Is his,
That's
you said
it.
his name is Backwoody?
Yeah, Backwoody's is his moniker. That's what he calls himself. So I don't judge. I don't judge.
You're not judging Backwoody.
Okay. But when you hear stuff, certain people are analytical. How long you've been doing this? When did this come about? If you played it again and you heard him say, he said something, maybe it was just in the ramble of him trying to, like, straighten it out, that you my boy and I should feel comfortable saying, yo, my boy look good. But you're still, yeah, it feels uncomfortable.
Okay.
That's right. What you showing us? You're
sometimes
using
it's about
T's Hanley?
uncomfortable.
All right.
Sometimes it's about being uncomfortable. Not gay, a little bit uncomfortable with how you receive and okay, maybe I shouldn't say receive, but how you interpret how you interpret, certain things for what certain people are saying. There are some people that really don't mean it like that. They're really genuine and trying to let you know how they feel about your well-being, not how you look, not your aesthetics, not the clothes you have on. There are some people that truly care about your heart and your soul, and they're like, yo, you look good today. Like, there's been other days where you haven't looked this good. It doesn't look like you've been in this type of health, and I just want to let you know that you look good today. And I think I'm not pushing anyone to talk like that or have that type of vernacular, but I believe the ones that do are able to distinguish what they're saying to someone, as opposed to someone perceiving what they're saying to them because of biases or because of where they grew up, who they hung around, and things of that nature.
Okay. There's a rub when you say what you say, because you being a female, I can't see that you could see it, and you were like, stop being so rough around the edges. And I'll give you in part of that. You're like, you know what? It's an adjustment period. It's an acquired taste per se. For, like, okay, say you being with someone and they're not used to just being that free and that soft with their words, and they still wish to remain stoic. Say a man would be like, oh, maybe she's right, but it makes me feel uncomfortable. But I would do it because it makes her happy. I would try. Or I'd see where she's going, and I'd be like, okay. Let me just, yeah.
Yeah, I grew up with predominantly all boy cousins. So I definitely get what you're saying. I play basketball, I've been around the basketball. So I get what you're saying about the male machismo, ness of it all. I get that wholeheartedly. But I wish that our community wasn't so I don't know. I want to say it's very impulsive when it comes to that other community, the LGBTQ, IA, whatever it is, community, that we so much don't want to be a part of that community that we attach everything to it whenever it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be a well why'd you like it's like with the pause, okay? Every thing that you say that is insinuating something else, but that's not what you're meaning, it don't have to be a pause. I think that there needs to be a authority around.
But that's only men, Precious. That's men. I think women, black women especially, they embrace the Rainbow Coalition, right? So that's a man thing, so men want to be careful what they say to each other, because especially on these YouTube streets, all you need is one clip and a guy will have you out there, and it's happened.
Y'all need to stop living YouTube. Lord, Lord, Lord.
Well. Hey, listen.
Why are you
I'm not saying me. I'm just saying that's what happens. So guys are cautious. Guys are
Yeah.
just cautious. And you know what? I think a lot of guys say the no Diddy thing just because they feel like saying it, as their way of check. They don't really care. They just say no Diddy, just so. But the pause thing, it's annoying. I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it sometimes. And honestly, it's a joke. You know what I mean? When you after
Yeah,
say
it's
everybody want to chuckle and laugh. So
it's culturally funny.
Exactly.
Culturally funny.
Mhm. Exactly. All right, guys. So thank you again for joining in. Like the video, share it with a friend. We're gonna get into a couple of topics tonight. The next one we're gonna get a little spicy. We're gonna talk about sex. Okay, I'm just letting y'all know that now.
Ooh.
King is going to read insert that I had posted actually on my Instagram page. And so I'm going to put up here. He's going to read it, and then we're going to go over this and some of the comments that I saw underneath of the post, and then get you guys' opinion as well.
Today, I gave up sex with my wife. This is a version of a story that I've told many times before. I, being a 27-year-old male, am going to stop initiating sex with my wife, who's a 25-year-old female, because she never initiates. When we do have sex, it's only because I asked, and there's nothing sexy about it. All of my sweet talk, subtle gestures, etc. get me nowhere. I absolutely understand that sex is not the end all be all. We are extremely compatible, and she is my best friend. I've heard the phrase, my partner feels more like a roommate, and that has helped me understand what I'm currently feeling. She's expressed before that sex doesn't hold the same value in a relationship that I believe it does, which hurts to hear, but I have to respect her opinion. And before y'all comment, talk to a G. I can assure you I have. We've had this discussion about every 6 months where I admit that I'm sexually frustrated, and I want to talk about this in a completely neutral environment. Normally, the conversation leads to her crying, and I apologize, or she says that she'll be more open to initiating, which it never happens. I'm ashamed to bring this to Reddit, but I need a third-party opinion. I love her so much, and I'm hurting. You muted.
Alrighty. So thank you so much, King, for reading that. So we're going to break this down. There's a lot in there, but just off of first read, what do you guys think? A 27-year-old and a 25-year-old, he is feeling like her roommate and is considering breaking up his marriage because of it, because of the sex portion of their relationship.
So let me start. If y'all are new to this, I've talked on Precious's channel about my situation. It was the opposite end for me. It was my ex-wife expressing to me that I wasn't being as intimate to her as often as she would like. And she came to me very, very vocal at first about it in a normal, respectful manner. And I would course correct for about a week or two. And then whenever I wasn't getting anything that I felt like I needed to get, I pulled back from it, right? We just weren't sexually compatible at that time on that front. I think you have to have an understanding of what your other person's sexual needs are, and ask yourself honestly if you can keep that through the entirety of your marriage, knowing that things are going to change. And it's rough. It's rough. I sat on the other side listening to my lady tell me how frustrated she was with me and my frequency. And in the end, that was a factor. It was a factor into why we didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
So when I read him, I see a path that unless he can convince her to update her frequency, I don't see a path in that marriage working out.
Okay. Pink, did you want to speak on this one before we dissect it?
Yeah, it's close to home. Let me say that because I can relate. That was part of my issue, not enough intimacy, and so I stepped out. I didn't take the higher road like King took. I felt like I needed to shake the bushes somewhere else, and so that's what I did because the lack of intimacy wasn't frequent enough to my liking, and so I felt like I needed to go elsewhere now. Was that a bad and selfish decision on my part? Yes, it was. It was very much so. Very inconsiderate, very selfish, and I moved like that. And and I probably shouldn't have. I probably should have did better with my communication, but I felt like I communicated enough to get my point across because guess what? I had a conversation. It went like I wanted to for a while, but then it started to scale back once again. And after a while, you get tired of having the same conversation and getting the same results. So what is a man to do? So it's just unfortunate, because it wasn't like that at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? It was like on a regular basis. But like they said, once you get married, all of a sudden it tails off. Well, shit. I know what they mean when they say that, because that's exactly what happened. So, man, that's awfully young, man. 25, and she's doing that. I would hate to see what's going to happen when she gets 30 and 40s. Now sometimes, they say women get more hybrid and want to do it more. I don't know. I don't know, man. So, man, good luck to that brother. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe he could get a third party.
Ooh,
Would she be open to that?
not the threesome.
To what? No, not even a threesome. She's on the outside looking in. Maybe he could supplement the booty, supplement the cheeks. Can we start that movement? It could go either way. If the dude ain't acting right, he ain't giving up like he should. Maybe the woman need to supplement some D.
Not
King, why did you tear up the plate like that, King? I know it was. No, you shouldn't have did all that. It wasn't that funny, whatever it was.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, maybe the man has to get the cheek supplemented. I'm just saying. I'm all for supplement if that's what needs to happen. I wish I came up with this concept in 2011, but I didn't.
Hey,
And so I'm in my situation now.
as the guy that was on the other end, if my ex-wife would have came to me and talked about having something supplemented, that would have been a hard no on my end. But to my point, like at that point, it's up to me to course correct and keep it going.
Listen. If your woman and your wife ever comes to you with she wants some new Johnson and she wants you to watch, she's been going a long time ago. Let me tell you that. Ain't no coming back. Just the question itself.
Mm-hmm.
So let me. You know what? In the reading of what you read, I'm not sure whether he was mad that she didn't initiate, but did they say she wasn't giving them any?
It wasn't sexy when she was. Hold on, I'm trying to.
Yeah.
No. He said that when they did do it, it wasn't sexy. It was nothing sexy about it.
Yeah, but he was getting some, right?
Pretty much routinely, like.
But he was getting some.
Vanilla.
You know what, R-Pain? I think you got a point. I kind of see where you're going. If he was at least getting the cheeks, as long as she's not flat out denying him,
that's another matter.
Is she fulfilling her obligation?
So let me say
Yeah,
where I'm going
yeah.
with this. One of the things that I was on my list
Oh
when I
shit.
was vetting my wife, and I didn't call it vetting back then, but I was doing that, is that I think it was incredibly crucial for a man to figure out what his woman's sexual biorhythm is, right? Before you get married, right? You know, are you compatible? You know, what's her biorhythm with you? And you know, does she like having sex with you? You like having sex with men, you know, is whether she likes having sex with you. If she likes having sex with you, because men don't have sex with two sticks in the shape of a V, you know, some shit like that. But if she likes to have sex with you, that's the key. If you could establish that, say, okay, this chick likes to give me some ass, you know, that kind of stuff. So you get it. You how often does she like it, and all this other kind of stuff. And so when you go into the marriage, even if it's not the most important, you at least know the chick doesn't throw up in the back of her throat when she sees you naked. All right, so so that's cool. So if some women are not, some women don't initiate sex. But when you want it, they're available, but you got to be the guy doing it. So he's telling me at 27, he wants the thrill of the woman who wants to ravage him. And he didn't get that, you know. So I can understand his frustration, but all the men who are in sexless marriages, they will not feel sorry for him as long as because he's still getting some box. He's still getting some. If she was turning him down, that's one thing. But he wants the thrill of victory. He wants her to give up that, yeah, I really want you. And that's what he wants. So I can understand where he's coming from, but I don't have no tears for him.
Someone in the chat said it. Mr. My Life on Will says he desires intimacy. So
he desires passion. He desires passion.
Well, intimacy is also the word into me see, right? So he's not saying she's not using the verbiage of saying I'm into you. See? Like she's not using that verbiage with him and the passion as well. It's just not there. But you are correct in saying that there is something going on in their bedroom. It's just not going on the way that he would like it to go on in the fashion that he would like it to go on. Because more women will tell you more than not, and obviously in this case, that they like a man to come on to them. But men will tell you, well, I like a woman to come on to me. I believe that everybody wants to be wanted. But you have to, I believe when you marry someone and sex is part of the equation, sex is the thing that keeps drawing you back to each other. So if she's not initiating sex with him, what is drawing her to him? And I'm not saying that sex is the important thing, but it is the thing that actually physically connects you. You know, your money can connect you financially, kids can connect you biologically. But when it comes down to the needs of the individuals in the relationship, that's something that you're doing physically, which transfers into, you know, more than just physical. It's a spiritual thing. It's more than just, you know, just having sex with a random person. Like this is your spouse. So there is no conversation around her being, or when there is, she's crying, she's, you know, trying to manipulate the situation. I personally believe she needs to be honest. I believe that, you know, yes, they are having sex, great, you should be having sex, you're in a marriage. So if he was in a sexless marriage, that would be a problem. But just because he's not in a sexless marriage doesn't make this any less of an issue than someone who was in a sexless marriage. That would just be their issue.
Yeah, no, I hear you. You know, the thing I would be most worried about is the guy she's cheating with, because he's getting everything he wants from her. You know, the passion, all the blood flow and everything. You know, you over here, she's giving you the missionary, and she's giving some other dude, you know, the Section 8, whatever, man. So that's the only thing I can see where he said, "Was this chick is passionate about something, and it ain't me." So I can understand how he feels about that. So just a little thing that she gives him to just calm them down and say, hey, okay, I gave you what you want. Now leave me alone for the rest of the week. Yeah, so, but there's guys who don't get even that. They don't even get
Yeah,
even.
but if that's the case, you shouldn't be married to that person. Like spiritually, y'all are not supposed to be having sex unless you both agree on it. So if you're coming to a point where y'all are, butting heads in that department, that you have to work that out, or you're not going to last. Your relationship is going to.
No, I agree with you.
So that has to be something that, you got to grow up, put on your big girl panties, put on your big boy boxers, and we're going to have to talk about this. We're going to have to talk about sex. And it may be uncomfortable. I know Kenny earlier was talking about being uncomfortable. These are those uncomfortable situations that you have to have. And if you don't have a healthy image of yourself first, then having this conversation with someone else is going to be a struggle, because you don't even have a healthy, and I hate to say this, I don't want to say sexual, but sensual relationship with yourself. A lot of women don't have a sensual relationship with themselves, and they're looking for this sexual passion from men, and it's not going to be there because women aren't sensual with themselves. They don't know their bodies. They don't know,
That's true.
what make them that's something that you have to do before you get to a man, because that's also a part of your femininity. So that's a huge thing. So people are very uncomfortable around the conversation of sex because they don't know themselves. It's become a taboo. It's become a subject that, we don't talk about that because you ain't supposed to be doing that. But we grown, and grown people don't grasp the concept of, I have to do this self-exploration before I even join with someone else. Kenny, Sean, y'all there?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm here. I think, Sean, you want to go?
All I was going to say is that communication in itself is valuable, whether it's communicating about your sex, your discomforts, your comforts, is valuable in a relationship. And I think that it's not as open as it needs to be. And the subject don't really matter. The subject of sex, yes, can be a sensitive one, just like the subject of sexuality we display was a sensitive one amongst us, but it doesn't negate the fact that we still need to communicate and we need to learn how to do it better.
There, Kenny. Kenny, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm thinking, I'm listening to you guys speak. I'm hearing the ages, and 25, 27. Let's think about this. At 25 or 27, did you know everything that you liked or you wanted your partner to do, or were you comfortable at those ages of knowing everything that you'd like to explore and do with your partner? I would think not. I would think communication wouldn't even be the biggest part of that young man's modus operandi when he's approaching his woman. Because at 25, 27, I was trying to get mine. You understand? Like, you best get yours because I'm going to get mine. There was a selfish thing about it. There was no Ronnie romance per se, the majority of that time, because at that time, you're glad that you're getting some of the cookie. You understand? And now you're married, and I don't think that discussion or the person telling them, I'm still looking for something. And the biggest part communication wise is like, okay, this is what displeases me. This is what pleases me. And that could automatically make a situation.
I hear what you're saying as far as,
Hello?
at the hello.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry.
Oh, did you cut out? Were you done speaking?
Yeah. Digress.
I can understand being at that age, just trying to get yours and not really knowing everything. And so that is something actually that they have in their favor, because she's only 25, he's only 27. And it seems as though he wants more than to just get his. He wants it to be a interactive activity for both of them that he knows that they both enjoy. I believe when men are not hit on, or when men, especially, I mean, you married, because guess what? A woman out in the street gonna be like, "Oh, you look good today." We going back to that good work. "Oh, you look good today. That haircut real fresh today. That smile on you." Like, you know what I mean? You have to, and it's not that you're competing, but you have to take care of what's yours. And so a lot of times you will hear men say, "Okay, well, I'm just trying to get mine." But at the end of the day, if you're in a marriage, the way that he initiates with you doesn't have to be the same way that you initiate with him, but the energy needs to be there, or someone is going to feel not unwanted, but they're going to feel like it's a chore every time you do that one thing that is supposed to bring you together and not supposed to be stressful. It's not supposed to be something. I mean, you're supposed to be relieving stress during that time, not, having pent up stress during that time, because you're it's just something that you're checking off your list at this point.
I'm in full agreement.
Did everybody go on this? Because I'm going to bring it back up. And then there was a couple of things that I wanted to point out. So he's 27, she's 25. When they do have sex, there's nothing sexy about it. Again, that goes back to women and their femininity and their sensuality, not sexuality, but sensuality, which will help with your sexuality. A lot of women, because of stigmas, because of traumas, because of them being done in a unfair, injustice way. This could be the situation for some women. They do not know how to connect with themselves in that way. And so again, when you can't connect with yourself in that way, you're not going to be able to share yourself with someone else, because you're going to be guarded, you're going to be closed, you're going to be thinking the worst, and not necessarily being free or open-minded about the situation that you're in with someone married, knowing that sex is a part of the kit and caboodle. She expressed before that sex doesn't hold the same value in a relationship that I believe it does, which hurt to hear, but I have to respect her opinion. So everything that's going to be said in, your marriage and things of that nature is sometimes going to hurt. Those are the uncomfortable situations, but that's a situation that you have to, or that's a conversation that you have to take further. Right. So, that it doesn't hold the same value in a relationship that I believe it does. My question to that would be, what were your conversations about sex prior to marriage? What was the vibe prior to marriage? Were you virgins going into this? And so you don't know what to expect. You don't have any experience. You don't have any comparison, because that's honestly the best way to go into it. They say that's the best way to go into it. So you don't have anyone to compare this man to, because that can throw your intimacy off with him as well. So that would be, a question that they need to be, that needs to be brought out of them, surrounding them having these two different values of sex in the relationship. And he needs to find out why. He needs to find out why. People can talk. He said they talk every 6 months. Obviously, they talking in circles, or they talking about the wrong things, but whatever they're talking about is not leading them to where he would like to be. And it seems like she backpedals every time they have the conversation. And so most of you say, okay, well, if I attempted and things like that, I had the conversation with her, then I'm just going to fall back. I'm not even going to attempt it. I think Hank, said that was kind of the downfall of his first relationship. Hey, you're not giving it up, I'm just going to go get it, which is something that most men are going to do. They're not going to continue to have this conversation with you over and over and over again. But in a marriage, we had the marriage series, and for one of those is a sickness and a health. And I think you have a sickness. Something's wrong with your health if you don't want to have sex with your spouse. I truly think that it is time to go to a doctor. It is time we have to check this out. Because when you're married, it's not like, oh, you go your way, I go my way. You can make the decision to cheat, but is that going to help or hinder the relationship, right? So I think that when women or men don't want to have sex in their relationship, they don't want to initiate it, because that's like a man literally paying for everything, and the woman don't say, oh, hey, can I leave a tip? Oh, hey, do you need me to buy you some I see you need socks, let me go get them. Don't even say anything about them. Or I see you need t-shirts or underwear. You can initiate other things, but why is it in this area there's no movement? So to me, that's a sickness and health type of thing. Because why did y'all get married in the first place? Unless, again, you were virgins. My question to you guys is, into the chat. I put the link in the chat if anybody wants to join the conversation. I don't think I see anybody in the back chat. But my question to you guys is, do you think he gave up too soon? Did he give up too soon? No? You say no, King?
Nah. I don't think he talked about or said exactly how long this has been going on, but it sounds like he took the steps within his relationship initially to try to course correct, and it didn't seem like things were working out. So he sought outside thoughts about the situation on Reddit, which I'm not against. I think, and this is just my opinion as somebody who went through it, about 18 months is about the length that is the max that it should go. If you can't course correct within 18 months, bounce out.
Okay, yeah, he did say every 6 months, and to me, every is a word that you use when it has been a good length of time. Like every 6 months, we're talking about, so you at least have 2 years plus under your belt when it comes to having these conversations with her. Okay, so you're saying that he didn't give up too soon. He was justified in saying it feels like we're roommates. And okay, how about you, Hank? Do you think he gave up too soon?
Well, I mean, like Brother Payne said or brought to the forefront for the conversation. It's not that he wasn't getting it. I guess he wasn't getting it maybe the way he wanted it. As far as her initiating the situation, look here, man. I can't even say his was sexless, because that don't sound like a sexless marriage if you getting it. Now, if you're not getting it at all once, maybe just for your birthday and maybe for Valentine's, yeah, that's sexless to me. You just getting it once a month, that's sexless. Dog, you at least getting it. And you just gotta say, hey, I want that ass. Man, okay, I can handle that. I would have been okay with that. God damn. But the dog, you just not good because she's not in this shit. Okay, fine, whatever. Maybe she's just not the aggressive type, and that's cool. I ain't got no problem with it. Long when it's time to do, you with it. That's all that matters.
Okay, but so so for men, right? For you guys, is it okay if it is like you said, when you're ready to do the do, as long as you're ready to do the do, that's okay with me? Because I had we did a segment on here of a woman who was on the Karamo show. I don't know if you guys remember King. I don't know if you guys remember. She had short hair. She was in red, and her husband, her and her husband were long distance at first. And he said that whenever, they would come together, they would have sex all the time. But then they got married and they started to live together. He wanted it every day-ish, pretty much, very frequently. And she was like, whoa, like, what are you doing? And he like, what you mean? You never denied me before. And what she said was, because I actually was commenting with her back and forth in the original post of this on the Neighborhood Talk. And what she proposed was, would you rather a woman not initiate sex, but whenever you want her to have sex, she'll have sex with you, as opposed to a woman who initiates it but doesn't maybe want it all the time? And she said that her husband is fine with, even if she don't initiate it, as long as when I come get it, don't deny me. My question is, though, can men, for men, it's just a hole. So
No.
we don't have to have no variety. It don't have to, like, I can see how it would seem like a chore if it's just, you know what I mean, Animal Kingdom-ish.
You got a point, Precious, but the point really is,
Brother Payne, when we have this sex talk, you need to sit this shit out, bro. Nobody want to hear your old ass.
Wait, first of all, I thought it was open to the panel. Are you still going? I thought you already shot. I already thought you shoot your shot already.
Precious, we need to have an age limit on the sex talk. Can we have an age limit on the sex talk?
Well, you know what, man? If I'm more like Jack LaLanne than the other guy, I'm like more like Jack LaLanne. Listen, all I'm just trying to say to you, Pressure, I'll be real quick. I'm not gonna pause, of course.
That's
right?
That's what she said.
Yeah,
that is what she said too.
Listen, all I'm trying to say is, I would take it as a challenge. If your woman is actually having sex with you, even if she's not initiated, my challenge would be to turn her ass out every time we have an encounter, to where that could start to change that behavior. That's what I would think. Because as a man, if I can get that release, then I'm cool. I don't need her to be doing all kinds of flips and shit but I would take it as a challenge and make her exactly enjoy this shit. You enjoy it and tell me you enjoy it, and we're gonna be at this session until you give me at least a sigh, baby. God damn it. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. And until, I think I'd break her out of that. I think I'd break, even if she never initiated, but every time we have an encounter, as long as I get a couple of pants and a couple of, back rubs or some shit out of it, I'll be happy.
I just want to pause the show. Blaze McCrory, I hope I'm saying that right, but Blaze, I've seen you in the chat. Thank you so much for the $5 Cash App. He says, for respect and support. Good show as always. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. We appreciate you. Okay, Arpain. So you pretty much said that you would break her out of that. And I think, again, we have to get to the root of why she is not initiating it. Could it be, like King says, she is not the aggressive type? Right. Do we have to do some exercises that make it comfortable for her to be in this space? Not a lot of people know this, but when you're in a relationship with someone, you should have at least 7 to 8 touches with them a day. Right. Yep. So whether it's, I'm just putting my hand on your thigh, whether I'm rubbing the back of your neck, whether you come home and I give you a little massage, like there has to be at least 7 to 8 touches a day, because that keeps a woman and a man stimulated to be comfortable in that way. But you have to find her why she's not initiating this.
I agree with that 100%. Can I say one thing, Pressure? Me and my wife, like I said, we've been married. We kiss and hug every single day. I mean, there's not a day that doesn't go by where the day is not complete unless she kisses me or we hold each other, we do this, do that. And I'm gonna say this, my wife will forgive me. There's a permanent round groove on her ass where my hands just rub up and down like this and shit. And I keep telling, I mean, it's a
let's go, Payne.
I've been doing that shit for 100 years, and it's just. And you know, I told her the other day, I'm gonna say this, and that's it. I said, you know what? And we're older now, but your ass is just as firm as when I first met you. That shit.
Any plans to resign? Excuse me. Let me tell you something. Get Dr. Newsom.
Newfangled fucking guys out there. Let me tell you. I'm just trying to tell you. As old as I am, the gray beard, all that kind of stuff.
Come on, man.
Let's go on, Payne.
Talk spicy. You got big
Come
hands?
on, man. God
Big enough
dang.
for that. Big enough
Kenny.
to.
God damn.
No Diddy.
Man,
Ew.
what are we being exposed to right now?
What is going on? All right. Where were we? Jesus, have mercy. Again, thanks for the super chat, the Cash App. I appreciate you. All right, I'm gonna read some of these comments here, and then we're gonna go on to the next topic. Because people are calling men psychopaths, and I need y'all y'all input on this. Christopher Sterling says he's going about it the wrong way. You know, some people when they're desperate, you know, they when you really don't have a oh my gosh, Sean, I forgot you was there. You're so quiet. When people don't have a support system, when they don't have a strong faith that's anchored in something, they will try to find answers any and everywhere. That's the danger of social media. When you don't have a faith that's anchored, when you don't have a belief system, when you don't have values and things of that nature, you will come to social media and ask social media anything, like it's Ask Jeeves. Y'all remember that website, Ask Jeeves? But now it's, you know, you can come to social media and ask anything. And for some people, it's good. For some people, it may hurt them in the long run. And it's something that they truly, you know, we invest in, you know, stocks, we invest in the places we live, what we put on our body. And when we have these issues like this, it's best for us to also invest in ourselves. And that means, okay, I need to go talk to a professional about this. And because we're married and because I want this to work, he mentioned her being his best friend. He mentioned them being very compatible. And for everyone, sex is not the, you know, the end all be all. That's true. But it is very important in your relationship, and you do want understanding. You do want to be on the same page as that, because that could be the epicenter of why you have a lot of issues, not being able to correct or mend or, you know, add to the progression of that issue, and not, you know, the failure of it. Emperor says, how are they compatible if they are not compatible sexually? Which is a good question, unless they were virgins when they got together. And so, you know, when you're virgin and you get together, this is a topic in a situation where you have to communicate. You have to say, I don't like this, I like this, I don't like that. But again, it's important to know what, for women especially, because you hear the guys on the panel saying, hey, as long as I get mine, as long as she don't deny me, I'm good. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. And we're done. For women, it's different. It's different. It's mental first before it's sexual. And so something is blocking her mental from wanting to initiate that connection with her husband. And that's what has to be uncovered. Christopher says, does he know how to get her aroused? Can he be intimate without putting it straight in? That's another thing that men have to work on too. You know, that intimacy part. It starts way before the bedroom. It starts in the morning with good morning, beautiful. You look beautiful today. Or, you know, a surprise. Hey, here goes $10 for lunch, $15 for lunch. Have a great day. Get your favorite lunch. Or, you know, it's so much deeper than just putting it in. Blaze says, having your, go ahead, Sean.
I was going to say, that reminds me of what we spoke about, men making sacrifices. We got a lot of work to do, a whole lot of work to do. And that's why we always sit and have these conversations. Like, yo, we put more work than you can ever imagine, just simply to appease and comfort our women. And it don't feel like it's reciprocated.
All right, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going on that note. Having your wife tell you she wants a new Johnson and you gotta watch is crazy. That is bananas. Okay. But he desires intimacy. Yes, I think he definitely does, because when it's one-sided, it gets monotonous, it gets boring, it gets, there is no excitement. And for them to be 25 and 27, if it's looking like that now, they're not even going to reach the 5-year mark, the 7-year mark, the 10-year mark, and they're going to get married just to get divorced because they couldn't communicate about that. And like Arpain said, it's not like he's not getting it. So there just needs to be enhancements in that area for them. He needs to find out what's major malfunction, what's really going
some
on.
of it could be his fault, but we don't know enough by that writing. One of the things I say a lot of times, guys who don't understand women at all, sometimes you just, I'm gonna be real quick. Sometimes you just got to fill up their emotional currency. Sometimes it drains. Depends on what kind of man you are. Like my wife, I burn my credits. I burn the hell out of them, but I know how to fill the shit back up. And so I always make sure I fill it up. Because every time I fill it up, I only fill it up so I can burn them. So, and that's how it is. But women, you don't have to do much. You just got to show them that you are aware, that you care, that if they're going to be with you, that, you do what you do and they do what they do. You can, and women need more affirmation than men do, even though we can use it from time to time. You give it to them. I'm going to end it here. My wife caters to me like nobody else in my world, but she knows that I got her back. I got her. She's situated where the worries of the world ain't on her shoulders. Not only while I'm alive, but even if I die, she still gets something from me. So when somebody else is hitting it, it's on my dime. So all I'm trying to say is, listen, she's comfortable.
Yeah, mark that one.
So I'm just trying to say that's the way the world goes. We're old now, so I ain't worrying about it. But it was true when I was 45. It was true when I was 55. It's true now that I'm 66. So anyway, that's how it is. So we're planning on trying to go out in the sunset with each other, and that's the deal. So,
Payne, I was thinking about the video that you showed of y'all marriage video, and you was feeding her the cake, and you had gave her a big piece at first, and then you gave her a small piece. And I said, well, Dad, is he going to wait for her to chew the cake before he get down her throat?
Well, you notice she's the one who threw it down so she could get a small bit. Man, I had a great time that day.
I said, he couldn't wait for her to finish by eating that piece of cake so he could kiss her. Go ahead, Sean. Did you want to say, or Kenny, did y'all want to say anything?
Oh, man. The words that Payne was using. Just man, I can use those words and it'll have a whole different context. Whatever she needs, I just fill it up. I'm just saying, I can use those same words, Payne. So I'm going to use, ladies, I can fill you up no matter what it is that needs to. I can fulfill it.
I look back on what was said because my mind is analytical. There had to be something that made them get married. What was it? What made them cleave? What made her consent to have him as her husband? Then how did it get in that short span of time to what it seems to me, in my opinion, him just fulfilling his needs and her just being there and fulfilling her duty as a wife in part. That impassioned literature that he put out there was one-sided. There's always three sides to the story. Suppose he didn't know how to please her. He didn't care to communicate with her, but he cared enough to be selfish enough to post an article, maybe or maybe not without her consent, bashing something she may need to get over with. Maybe she hasn't learned herself. Maybe you're just a ruffian that jumps on her and just gets yours off. Maybe you're little. Not everybody's a pickle. Some people's a gherkin. You understand? There's a lot of context that's missing from right there. But the last thing I would do would be posting some article about my wife for public consumption rather than rolling up my sleeves and going to fix the issue. Because it went back to the vows that you mentioned, for rich or for poor, for sick and in health.
Mm-hmm.
I got to make this work. Who's my counsel? I'm young. Who is speaking to me? Hank has young sons. Does that young man, have someone who's a stalwart and stoic enough to say, that's not going to be it? This is wrong. This is right. Do you talk to? Is there communication?
Mm-hmm.
Because taking that leap of faith is a big vow. That's a big step in your life. That's a promotion.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we have jovial.
Getting all the benefits.
Listen, we could be jovial about it, but we have an audience. Precious has a channel. King has a channel that has an audience. We may have 1 or 2 young people listening that may run across this path right now, and our words matter.
Yeah.
I think for anyone that's out there, if you ever run down this road and the easiest thing to do is divide and make distance. Dig deeper. Marriage is something very important. Don't have regrets later on in life. Don't be a quitter.
Yeah. It definitely makes you wonder what made them get together. And I think you said that earlier, like what brought them together. Again, he talks about her being his best friend, them being very compatible. If you're compatible with someone, there shouldn't be anything you shouldn't be able to talk to them about and bring to their attention because you're compatible. That's your dog, that's your road dog. You are able to bring anything to them, and they at least acknowledge what you're saying, and then be active on making the situation better if they have work to do on their end, and vice versa. Let me see here. Get back to these. Average man says a sexless marriage is unhealthy. Outside of some sort of health issue, it better be happening regularly. If not, 2 fingers are going to go up in the air eventually. He said, deuces. Not every woman is cheating. She could have traumatized issues. He might not know how to seduce his wife. I think that there needs to be work done on both ends. I think his goal should be what are the steps that I take to make her comfortable enough to even really have this conversation with me? Because you can't cry every time we have this conversation. That's not going to be acceptable. And that's what she does when they go to have the conversation. So we have to get into an environment, like he said, a neutral environment. They have sex therapists. They have places that you can go where, the touch zones and, things of that nature where you can learn those things. But she has to be open to that. She has to be open to wanting to learn, to wanting to get out of her comfort zone of not being the initiator and not being, an aggressive type. When you're with someone, you study them. So, this should have been part of the studying process for her. And at this point, she don't even have to watch the non-cues. He's literally saying to her, I would want you to initiate. And honestly, this is probably a conversation that's had more than we think is being had, because men are the initiators. So I think they, get tired of being the initiators, and it could be the other way around. You could have a woman that got that whippersnapper. She in her, mid 40s, where he like, look, it's been 6 days now. Give me a break. Or, we just didn't, so it could be, depending on the age, a reverse and what's going on. But because they're so young, it should be it should be that they're both at this height of passion for one another.
Well, but you're correct, right? Real quick, one of the things that when men cheat, right? When men do cheat, it's because the woman that they're cheating with wants them passionately.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not necessarily the sex, it's the passion that the woman has for you. So if the woman that you're married to doesn't have any more passion for you, even if you're getting it, I can see where he's coming from. But at 25 and 27, there's something else going on. Both of them are like bunny rabbit, 25, 27. I mean, if your woman's not passionate for you like that, it was something he missed when he was courting her. And we don't have that information because she had to be that way beforehand. You don't just turn that shit off and on. Mm-hmm. At least I don't think so. He had to have signs that he ignored, And then after a while of having sex, he will say, wow, it'd be nice if she act like she really wants me. Like all the chicks I've been cheating with, right? If I'm cheating with them, I know at least they're sexually attracted to me, And so I think men could crave that, but once you get married, you got to fix that, And when he confronts her with it, I'm reading all this into it. The reason why she might start crying is because she was never that kind of woman who initiated sex, and so it's frustrated because she doesn't know how.
Yeah.
And so that could be a possible. That's one of the scenarios. And he doesn't have the maturity to understand, well, maybe I'm asking her something that she can't do without other help. So that could be a possibility too.
I want to play this. Oh no. All right, he pretty much was saying that you have to work on. I wonder why it didn't. I don't know why the volume is not working. You guys can't hear that, right? No, volume's not working on it. I don't know why. But he's pretty much saying that, your sexual attraction doesn't happen automatically. You have to create it. You know how you are with somebody, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years, and every part of their body has changed. And you think it's just going to be like, the first time you saw them, where hormonal kicked in. No, sexual attraction in relationships that are healthy and are lifelong is attraction that is intentionally developed, right? Because as men get older, our libido changes. As women get older, a lot of hormonal things happen and a lot of things change with women as well. So a lot of times we have to be intentional, develop the attraction. I guess that was the end of the clip. So, you have to, and honestly, a good marriage counselor, or again, a sex therapist, can get you headed in the right direction. There used to be a show called Love, Sex, and Goop or something like that on Netflix. I forget what it was. Love, Sex, and Goop. If anybody know in the chat, let me know. But it was pretty much for couples who had issues in that department, and they gave them so many different techniques and things to try for them to spice up their bedroom. And some of the women were not initiators, and so they had to get comfortable being blindfolded, and their husband, softly touching them with their hands. And then it goes to a whip, and they're not necessarily getting whipped, but they're feeling the sensation of a whip. So again, you have to get comfortable with your own body. And if a woman is not comfortable with her own body, a man it's going to be like talking to a rock. You ain't going to get nothing out of it. Okay. It is not going to yield you any results, because that person has to be comfortable with sexuality and sensuality and femininity in their own body, in their own being, in their own person. And you can tell that just by a way a woman walks down the street. Just by the way a woman walks down the street, you can tell that she's intact with who she is as a woman. Some women just know they got it. Some women know how to seduce. Some women don't have issues with initiating. Some women don't have issues with telling men, with praising men in a sense, not like a god, but feeding that ego, stroking that ego. So, I think that women need to do the inner work, and men can aid in that. You guys can aid in that, and having those affirmations, being there to do those exercises with her, and again making her feel comfortable, because you guys, one of your mighty traits of why women are with men is for protection, right? And so if she doesn't feel protected in her self journey of who she is sexually, sensually, and her femininity, if she doesn't feel protected in that space with you, being joined with you, there's no way she's going to be able to share it with you. It's like you're going to be repelling each other. I seen some people come into the chat. I saw grown men talking. Thank you so much for being here. I didn't mean to highlight that one, but I did want to highlight your super chat. Thank you so much. Good content ain't free. Keep up the good work. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Him and I briefly met on one of my lives this past weekend. I had just went live. I was on doing some family time, spending some time with the family, and went live for a little bit. So I appreciate you for stopping by, as well as contributing to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So we're going to move on to the next topic, and it is about men and empathy. So I think this flows really good into this topic, because this is important for men to have, whether you're in a relationship or just as a part of your masculinity, being able to have a healthy amount of empathy for not only your spouse, but the people that you're in contact with.
Say that men are more logical than women, but they actually just lack empathy.
Interesting.
They're just literally not thinking about how other people are feeling as much as we are. So they're not logical. They're actually just psychopaths. Or
I
like that.
feel like
You're like,
I
well,
like that. I just feel as a woman, I'm not as emotional as some. I think there's like
okay,
a spectrum
Grace, can you
of
cut
everything.
to last episode when she was crying, going, I've been so emotional lately?
I was so emotional this weekend. Like, I was tearing up that people were being mean to JoJo.
The other day, first of all,
she just wants to dance.
the song.
Oh yeah, let her dance.
Oh, my neck is really killing me today. Maybe you're just being irrational. I'm sorry, what? Maybe you're just too sensitive. Too sensitive? Dale, have you ever had neck pain before? It hurts. But why is it even hurting? I don't know. Then maybe it's not even real. I can feel it. So you think just because you're feeling something that makes it real? Yes, it's real to me. I can barely move my neck. So I'm supposed to believe that feelings can just happen to you and you can't even control them? Yes. Sorry, but I don't let my feelings control my life. I don't think feelings should control my life either. But it would be nice if you cared a little bit about what I'm experiencing instead of acting like I'm crazy. I'm not acting like you're crazy. I'm just saying that since I can't feel what you're feeling, maybe you're just making a big deal about nothing. Wow. Okay, look. I'm sorry that you feel that way. Are you? But it could be worse. Maybe you should just think of things that you're grateful for. Do you feel better yet? No, Dale. Surprisingly, I don't. See, nothing I do is ever going to be good enough for you anyways. Yeah, you're always the victim, even though I'm the one hurting. Have you ever tried a little validation, maybe a little empathy in your life? What are those? I don't know, Dale, okay? But it feels like it would have helped this situation somehow.
So why is it that when somebody has performance problems at work, why is it that our instinct is to say, you're out? We do not practice empathy. What does empathy look like? Here's the lack of empathy. This is normal in our business world. You walk into someone's office, someone walks into our office and says, your numbers have been down for the third quarter in a row. You have to pick up your numbers, otherwise I can't guarantee what the future will look like. How inspired do you think that person is to come to work the next day? Here's what empathy looks like. You walk into someone's office, someone walks into your office and says, your numbers are down for the third quarter in a row. Are you okay? I'm worried about you. What's going on? We all have performance issues. Maybe someone's kid is sick. Maybe they're having problems in their marriage. Maybe one of their parents is dying. We don't know what's going on in their lives. And of course it will affect performance at work. Empathy is being concerned about the human being, not just their output.
All righty. So he's saying that empathy is about caring about the person themselves and not just their output. So my question to you guys is a person born with low empathy, or does upbringing, social factors, or life experiences something that may hinder their ability to develop it? What do you guys think? I think I had posted something on my threads, and King actually was one person who said that that's an area for him that he needs to work on, being more empathetic. And there was I think another guy who said that as well. I think guys will admit that they don't have enough empathy. But what do you guys think? Do you think you're born with low empathy, or does your upbringing and social factors, life experiences hinder the ability to develop it?
I believe it's taught. I believe it grows in a portion of people. There are some people that are just devoid of it.
Yeah.
There's some people who, no matter nurturing, shown the ways that they are what they are. But on a majority basis, I believe that's a taught behavior, just like prejudice. And who you have in your life, the negative or positive factors determine how well you're able to embrace that.
Okay. So you believe it's taught. Sean, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Alrighty. So do you think a person is born with low empathy, or does upbringing, social factors, or life experiences hinder their ability to develop it?
I think they're born with it. As we grow, we develop it, or we become desensitized to it, depending on what we're taught. But I think that it's a learned behavior to be non-empathetic, and sometimes non-sympathetic.
Okay. So you think it's a learned behavior?
Yes, it's a learned behavior as far as I'm concerned. And unfortunately, we learn as early as adolescents before we even are able to talk sometimes, because we witness it, and we start emulating things that we see, which often are rooted in lack of empathy and lack of sympathy, lack of consideration, period.
Right. Okay.
Why'd you say, Sean, that it is unfortunate that you learn it early?
Because it's not a great quality to have, in my opinion. It's a horrible quality to be selfish and inconsiderate. But we learn it very early on in life through sometimes those who breed us or teach us, or society or culture, depending on what we're exposed to. And that's the unfortunate part of it.
I completely missed that. I thought we were defining empathy, not selfishness.
Well, low empathy. So we're talking about a person born with low empathy, or does upbringing, social factors, life experiences hinder their ability to develop?
Low.
And sometimes they can overlap. You know, it depending on what context you're using it in. Selfishness and empathy can look the same or be synonymous.
Yeah. Arpain?
Yeah, first of all, I don't believe that anybody's born or not born with empathy. It's something that you learn along the way. I think it's situational. I think that men in general have empathy for women. That's why the laws in the West favor women in a lot of ways. That's why the society's been civilized, because we understand that y'all need extra protection from men, right? What's missing is that we have no protection from you guys. But I don't think women have as much empathy for men as they should. And so I don't think it's a born behavior, it's a learned behavior. Right. So I think men are some of the most empathetic creatures on the face of the earth, especially depending on who they're directing it towards. You know, so I think we misuse it and all that kind of stuff. But I think we have an overabundance, and it's not a bad thing, of empathy for women in general and children. You know, so that's just, I think, for in a civilized society, that's how I think we're wired. Women have no such empathy for men. Not all women, and the empathy they have is not the same kind of empathy we have for them. And you just have to live long enough to understand that that's true. I mean, I sit down here and watch. I'm gonna just use one example. It's just a small, stupid example. It's not scientific. I watched 5 women on The View for 15 minutes tell us how much they hate men in front of millions of people, and nobody said anything. You know, so all I'm just trying to say is, and that's just a microcosm of what goes on. So there's no equivalency when it comes to empathy. Men have much more of it than women do. There's just no doubt about it. So, but it's still who you're directing it towards, and that's just my opinion. But I'll just leave it there.
Do you guys think that the guy on the last topic with his woman not initiating sex with him, do you think that he showed any empathy towards her?
The fact that he was putting up with it for as long as he's 27, so I don't know how long he was putting up with it, but the fact that he didn't just walk out and all that kind of stuff, I think, I don't know if the role was reversed and he couldn't bang it out right, or he couldn't get it up, how long she would wait for him to find a way to fix it before she left.
How was he showing her empathy, Payne? If
because he still kept he kept trying. He kept trying. He didn't say nothing that, listen, I'm gonna step out, I'm gonna divorce and all that. He kept trying. He complained, but he kept trying, right? He kept going back to the well and seeing what he can do. Now, did he have the tools to fix it? No, because he's young. But if he was a little older, he might have had some tools to be able to fix that situation or live with it better. Because he was still having sex with her.
You realize we needed more context, and he complained. Right. He complained to us, but there's a question mark where he looked to find solutions with her. Would you say? Would you agree with that?
Yeah. So where's the lack of empathy there? He still trying to fix it with her.
The lack of empathy is what I pointed out before. This is something solemn. You're bringing this periodical to the world so that they can pick you apart, dissect what you are, and give their opinions on how your household should be ran.
Or they can give you a solution that you didn't think of.
Yeah. Okay, watch this. Which one of them are clinical?
Sometimes you don't have to have a clinical solution. But I hear what you're saying. But he could have went to a doctor and all that. I'm just, listen, at some point we got to say,
let's parse it out piece by piece.
Okay,
was that stated in the article that he looked for help?
No, but we're both assuming stuff, right?
Yeah.
So let's just take
our opinions. We're going back and forth.
So let's just take it for what it's worth. Could he have gone professional or some way more mature in how the situation other than going to social media? Absolutely. I agree with that. But okay, so in some part, when we have people on these panels saying men and women don't mature until their brain is all somewhat at 28 and all that, why would we be surprised that a 27-year-old man with a young wife might have handled it badly?
You're making excuses for him.
No. I'm just going by. No. See,
you just made an excuse for him being non-empathetic.
How come it's not an excuse if he would have went to a doctor or some professional? Yeah, I'm saying he didn't. I'm admitting that he didn't. I'm admitting he didn't handle it like a 35 or 40-year-old man because he's 27.
Okay, so you're making
excuses. So a lot of times people want to say, you know what, at 27, you're too dog shit stupid to do the right thing. And so when somebody who's 27 actually does something wrong, now we want to beat the shit out of him. He didn't handle it like a 35-year-old professional man.
You're being polarizing now. You know what it takes. Okay, wait.
Okay, wait. Tell me,
have you ever sat down and wrote like an essay or a paper, and the thought that you have to put in to penning these things, be it your feelings, be it your introspection, your vision on certain things, and then before you hit send or email, are you taking the time to like, should I or should I not do this? Because
Yeah,
now I am
maybe too many
exposing my
times.
wife in my relationship. Am I doing this with her feelings in mind? And empathetic.
I mean,
So yeah,
we're speaking.
was that question to me, KP, or to
It's
the
for
floor?
the panel. It's for the panel.
For the panel.
Okay. Yeah. Well, look, I don't. I'm the type. I don't believe in putting everybody in my business. So what me and my wife is going through, y'all are not going to know about it. So it's none of your goddamn business, Kenny.
And I take
And so
that
why,
as
why would I?
being
Why would I?
empathetic.
Why would I put that out in public for what's that? A dear Annie? I don't know if y'all remember that, or maybe I'm showing my age
Dear
when I say
Abby,
that.
dear Abby.
Ed
Dear
Landers,
Abby.
Ed Landers.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what-
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, dear Abby. No, I'm not doing that shit. That's crazy. That was totally very feminine of him, you know. So maybe that's why she didn't want to have sex with him no more, man, because she felt like she was dealing with a homosexual man. I don't know, man,
Jesus
because
Christ.
that's a bad move on his part. Yeah, I'm just saying, man, that's not okay, man. Don't do that. You know, don't look. I know most times it's usually the ladies doing some shit like that, but dude, you as a man, you shouldn't be doing that. You ought to be curving her if she's thinking about doing it, let alone you doing it yourself. That's a problem, Kenny. So I hope that answers your question.
It does.
Now Sean's gonna say just the opposite. Sean encourages that shit.
Because Sean is you're right. Because I
See
feel
what I'm
that
talking about? See what I'm talking about?
that's because I feel you can get answers in a lot of places other than what traditionally you get them. And often, sometimes you need to research and go get them from places that you're not receiving them at because you're going clinically or you're going places where it's just not serving you. And I'm not about specifically where you get your answers or where you get your message. It's about getting the message. And if it goes to publicly get a message, then so be it. If it goes to clinically getting a message, so be it. If it goes to privately getting a message, then so be it. As long as there's a resolution and you're receiving the message, I don't agree that there's one sure shot way to achieve
Holy
it.
crap! I agree with Sean. Oh my God, you gotta.
I know you do.
You
so
gotta. You gotta
y'all
put this in
okay.
a box. You gotta
So
put this in
y'all
a
are
box.
okay. So y'all are okay if your ladies goes to the family gathering and
No.
start speaking about y'all sexual business
No,
at
I'm
the
not.
kitchen table. No. That's what you're saying. Because
No,
it's no different from with this Dear Abby letter that this dude sent out. It's no goddamn difference, man.
Yes,
You and
it
Sean
is.
both agreed, said, I agree. I'm okay with it. Doesn't matter where I get the
So,
information from, as long as I get them information. So if my old lady goes to the kitchen table with her sisters and her friends and talk about Sean's little dick ass ain't getting it up, and he runs out of pill every other week, I'm sick of this shit. Bullshit. It's not for everybody to know what's going on between me and my wife. Look,
okay.
if I'm having problems, that's between me and my wife. Now, if I want a third party, we're gonna go to a marriage or counsel. That's what we're gonna do.
Okay, so she go to a marriage counselor
unbiased, neutral
and say,
party.
Hank little dick ass ain't satisfying me.
So
And
be
you don't
it.
mind it there. I'm like this.
So
If
be
you're a
it.
little dick ass, it don't matter whether it's in
So
front of
be
a
it.
counselor or if it's in front of her girlfriend, you're a little dick ass. And maybe you need to
matters,
address
Sean.
that.
It matters. No, it matters. It matters.
I hear
Precious,
you.
not
It
to
matters
Sean,
to
it doesn't.
it matters. It matters to others. It don't matter to me because I want resolutions. I don't want you to cater or coddle me and get in those resolutions. We're emphasizing coddling a man's ego in that case, but yet we don't want to coddle anybody else. But we want to coddle the man, and I just don't agree with coddling, whether it's a man or a woman.
Listen, Sean,
For
I
whatever
agree with
woman's
Sean,
gonna date
but one
Sean
of the things that
or
nobody.
Kane, please believe y'all business is gonna be out in them goddamn streets.
No,
He gonna be in a barbershop telling
First
every
of all,
goddamn body to listen.
You're adding stuff to the shit. We're talking about the man who said what he said. He didn't say he accepted his wife doing it. Plus, we're forgetting the fact that this guy is still 27 years old. And the only point I'm trying to make is that if he was a 55-year-old or a 35-year-old, I would probably my thoughts would change. They got a new marriage. He don't know where to go. and he went out and put this little stupid little missive on the internet, which is kind of benign to all the missives that I've seen on the internet that say a whole lot worse. Well, he says my wife doesn't initiate sex. Everything else was just worse sound. And so he still said it shouldn't be on there. No, but I'm not saying he broke some kind of cardinal rule. I guess he
My
did.
man, how old are they?
He shouldn't have said any of it. But the point I'm saying is he's young.
Okay.
He's young.
I mean, to your point, whether it's a matter of opinion, and personally, we are not taking into consideration that we are old. All of us are over 40 and going into our 50s. And so the new age and how they disseminate and get information ain't how we did it. And how they do things ain't how we did things. And I agree with what we did personally, but I can't sit there and crown my face upon the way they do things, because sometimes we didn't get the right proper guidance and understanding on the methods that we use. And so if their methods work for them and they're getting to the resolution, which was my point, it wasn't about how they got to it, it was about them getting to a resolution, then so be it. But if they don't get to a resolution, it just becomes a gossip warfare. I agree with you, Hank. I agree. Yeah, shut your mouth. But if you get in a resolution and it came in a unfamiliar, untraditional, uncomfortable in our generation type of way, I'm not gonna sit there and knock it if the resolution came out.
Sean, we're not talking about stock options. We're not talking about how to change a car battery. We're not talking about fixing a hot water heater. That's not what we're talking about, Sean. We're talking about our bedroom. And that's what you okay with? For the public to be coming in your bedroom? Then you might as well let the public come all the way in your bedroom then.
Well, the way you're looking at it from that standpoint, that's not what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting getting a resolution, and I'm suggesting not sitting there identifying what won't work because we don't agree with it. If it works, and that's what works for them, especially in this younger generation where everything is so public, because we got social media, because we got the internet. Not that I condone it or I would even do it, but I understand it. And for us to sit here and act like we can't understand a different point of view, we're getting old.
No
Look,
one
let
said.
me be old then, Sean, because look here, I'm not going to sit there. It's okay for my son to say, Daddy, I want to wear a dress and suck dick. Bullshit. I'm going to do everything I can to deter that boy from acting and moving like that. I'm not going to say, oh, he's young, it's their generation. Just because we wasn't out there able to give fellatio to another man don't mean my son can't do it. Bullshit, Sean. That's
Sean, it's
bullshit.
your fault.
That's
I mean, I don't know how you took it all the way there.
Part
Sean,
of
it's
no,
your
because
fault.
you talk. No, because of what you said. You gotta listen to what you said.
Okay, you took
You
it there.
talking about allowing
go there
certain
with you.
things to go on like it's
Okay,
okay.
you took it there. I'm gonna go there with you. In our
Come on,
generation,
brother.
they was still giving fellatio. They just was acting like they wasn't. You know it like I know it. So why are we sitting there acting like it's some big secret? So now what you got to say?
The reason is because it was a secret. You better not come outside and talk about I'm out here doing this shit.
And where did it leave us?
accepted.
And where did-
It
and
wasn't
what- and what
okay.
good did it do
You
us?
wasn't welcome with open arms.
And what
The
good
problem
did
is
it do us?
it didn't do us no good because we allowed it to happen. Us as our people, we were okay with it, and that's our problem. We put the white flag out for any goddamn thing. We allow anything to come in. Look, I accept you, little. I accept you, little sissy boys. I accept you, little bulldag ass girls. Come on, we accept all that bullshit. That's bullshit. Why do we do that?
I hear you, but again, so basically you telling me you don't have no homosexual men or women in your family that you accept.
Oh no,
Is that
I
what you're
do.
saying?
I do.
Oh, exactly.
I do.
So why you
Don't
so
mean
why
I
you acting
no,
like you don't?
no. I got them in my family. Don't mean I accept them. That's the difference.
Okay, well, you're right. There is a difference. I am more like
Now,
to
I'm not going to
let me
look, Sean.
tell you.
I'm not going to treat them some type of way. I'm not going to go all out and be mean to them and call them names. I'm not going to
So
do that.
what?
But I'm
So
not going
then
to
you're
sit there and
accepting
say,
them.
hey, no. It's not about accept. I didn't say I didn't accept them.
You just said that. You said I'm not accepting them.
No, I'm not accepting my family. My family, my kid. No, Now, I can't help what my cousin do. That's on him. I'm not going to be mean to him. I'm not going to be hateful to him. You know what I'm saying? But we not hanging. He ain't bringing his relationship in my house.
Sean,
That's what he's not doing.
That's real quick, Hank. Sean, that's not cool. What you're doing?
I ain't trying to be cool.
No, you're actually trying to provoke him into something that could possibly get strikes on her page. You know that, right?
Child, look,
I am not doing that.
You
What
right,
came
Kenny.
up?
Let me stop.
I agree. Watch this.
I
Hey,
didn't
King,
bring
real
that up.
quick.
My bad.
I
My
didn't
bad,
bring that
Prince.
up.
I
So
agree
don't put it on me. I
agree
didn't
with
bring
your
it up.
sentiments, but because once you say he got a gherkin, all bets were off. He throwing mud pies at you. You know, it's like the fight in the juke joint after Sugar Avery song. People get knocked in the creek. I thought, listen, we got to get back on even keel. This is a very touchy situation. I get what Sean is saying. I am adamant for what Hank is saying. But you said resolution. Sometimes you get trapped in your word salad of the things that you say and put out into this ethos. That's not a resolution. That shows weakness as a husband. That you're writing a Dear Abby about your young wife rather than seeking counsel within your village, your pastor, or whomever that you cleave to with knowledge, your griot or whomever, to settle your issues. And at that point, if it can't be settled, you'll part amicably. That is not a resolution. That is someone who is wayward, that doesn't know his way. I am not sitting down writing a whole essay about the woman I took vows to for public consumption so that they can tear her apart. Part of your vows is provide and protect. Pay attention to the protect part. I'm going to protect my wife, even though our sexual or bedroom matters are not where they're supposed to be. Pain, you will not put your wife out there for public consumption. Is your job not to protect her at all costs? I digress.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I do hear where Sean is coming from. He's saying that in a world now, because we, do come from the older school of, things such as that nature of what happens in this house stays in this house. There are certain things that happen in your house that should stay in your house. That that was like one of the things that was drilled into us. Now, I think it got drilled into us so much so that people are not having these uncomfortable conversations, and so now these topics are taboo, and especially the conversations around the community, right? They're taboo, and they make some people uneasy and things of that nature. So I hear what Sean is saying, pretty much saying, these people don't have big mamas no more. They don't have, the family reunions where you just kicking it with your uncles and your uncles is drilling the game into you. They're telling you what's out here. They're telling you what to look out for. Again, I was with my family last weekend in Virginia, and I could my between my brother, cousins, and things of that nature, they couldn't stop saying how much they looked up to my uncle. Like, they grown. They, you know what I mean? They're in their 30s. Almost, my one cousin's almost 40. It's like, those things are ingrilled or instilled in our generation. But as we evolve and we come into this new age, and all information is out there are people who are going to be so thirsty that they come to the internet, and there are people that come to this channel and they get knowledge and get understanding and things of that nature. But when we're talking about solutions, right, we're moving on to solutions on empathy. In order to get a solution, you have to be able to define the word, and like Kenny says, word mean things. So empathy is the ability to see things from another's perspective and feel their emotions. So you're seeing it from their perspective and you're actually feeling their emotions. It's almost like twins, right? Twins can have great empathy for one another because they can see things from a different perspective, and they can actually feel their twins' emotion. I think that they're probably the pair that share probably the most empathy. Children share empathy until they are taught to separate, isolate, and things of that nature. If one child falls down, you'll have another child that will come over, try to hug them, try to, kiss the boo-boo or whatever the case may be, because they have a heart or they feel the emotion of that other child. Putting yourself in another person's shoes might lead you to act with compassion and do what you can to improve their situation. In doing so, you can reduce the other person's distress as well as your own. So being able to understand someone, see it from a different perspective, and actually try to feel what the other person is feeling is what empathy is. And when you're trying to practice empathy, the best thing that you can do is ask questions, right? And when you're trying to understand something, that means you're asking questions to try to gain more knowledge. And so, you're asking questions. How do you feel about this? What are you hoping for? What type of outcome are you hoping for? Because you're trying to get that other person's perspective and actually feel feel the emotions that they're feeling towards any situation at any given time. And at the beginning of the video, the girls were saying, well, men lack empathy and it's because they're psychopaths or something that she said. Now, there are possible factors that are associated with low empathy, people who possess low empathy, and their personality and developmental disorders. So narcissistic personality disorder is number one. Number two is Machiavellianism, which in the 16th century political advisor and philosopher Niccolo Machiavelli wrote The Prince, a manifesto of sorts that emphasized deception, wickedness, and cunning as being more important to politics than virtue and morality. So that was back in the 16th century. And so fast forward to today, where there are people who practice deception, wickedness, and cunning. So they're trying to appease you. They're trying to use your feelings actually against you in a harmful way without that virtue or morality. So there's people walking around like that. They could care less. All they want to do is use you, and they will use your feelings against you, but make you feel as though they are on your side and they're actually empathizing with you when they're truly not. Sociopathy is actually one antisocial personality disorder, borderline personality disorder. Alexithymia is a broad term to describe problems with feeling emotions. In fact, this Greek term used in Freudian psychodynamic theories loosely translates to no words for emotions. While the condition is not well known, it's estimated that 1 in 10 people have this. So, it describes problems with feeling emotions. So there are some people who do have issues with feeling emotions. I know that I remember talking to a friend years ago, and she goes, well, I don't cry. That's just not an emotion that I feel, or it's not an emotion that I allow to come out. And there are people like that don't feel emotions like other people, or they don't express them like other people do. Have you guys run into anyone like that, or do you have some of those traits where it's just like, I don't really put the words to the emotions?
That's why I said it's all situational, right? Empathy in the context of what we're talking about is me as an older guy having empathy for a 27-year-old guy not handling the situation with his wife the right way. I could come down on him and say, you know what, you're an idiot. You put this on social media. But you know what, 25, 27-year-olds, they all live on social media. If I judge them based on how we used to deal with each other back in the 80s or 90s, yeah, I'm right. But as an older guy, I could say, you know what, I understand what you've done. And you know what, you could be, it has nothing to do with you being right or wrong. If I tell you that you did the right thing, now I'm lying to you. But if I could have empathy and tell you the truth at the same time without beating the hell out of you for doing something stupid.
Mm.
You know, so that's what it's all about. Or else it's
Yeah.
not empathy at all. So, you know, so you could correct someone with love. You could correct someone with empathy. And that's what this guy needed. So he went out and lashed out the only way he knew how, because none of these people, nobody's being taught anything better these days. For whatever reason, our society doesn't teach anything better to the majority of the kids out there.
Yeah.
Maybe they shouldn't even be married. We don't know what kind of counseling they had beforehand or none of that stuff. I don't know what his list was to vet this woman or anything, or hers to vet him.
RP, do you as men
Right.
get older, they lose empathy, meaning they don't attach themselves to certain feelings or certain perspectives and being able to feel what the other person feels?
The situation, right? I have an older brother. If I use the word curmudgeon and it went through the dictionary, his picture would be there, right? Because he don't have no empathy for nobody. But I'm not the same way as he is, and he's only 1 year older than me. But we have nice conversations. So yeah, so it's an individual thing. I don't think it has anything. It's just a person. You either got some of it because that's how you are as you grew up, and you take solace on the fact that somebody might have had empathy for you at some point, or you just kind of learn. Or some people say, well, you're soft and all that. Well, everybody could be a dictator. It's nothing great about don't giving a shit about nobody.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make you some kind of great person, as far as I'm concerned. So, and you know, but it doesn't make you bad. It just makes you wired the way you are. So, in this particular situation, empathy to me as an older guy is like, hey, man, you did something stupid, but it's not the end of the world. So, tell me what's up.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
that's how I would handle that.
Hank, do you think that empathy is a huge part, or do you think empathy is a huge component of a man dealing with a woman in a relationship?
For sure, because we have to adjust accordingly. You know, when it comes to certain women, especially, you know, you got a soft, meek, mild type woman. You know, she's going to look and need that type of. Now, if you got one of those women who's just as masculine as you are, shit, I mean, she don't deserve shit. But as far as RP, what you were saying, I don't think it's an age thing. Because look, we see people in the 30s and 40s putting their business out there on social media. I remember reading a post on somebody's whole relationship and situation, talking about they're gonna break up because he's doing this. They just put it out there like that. Now, why would you do that? Especially when you still with it. It'd be different if you saying it after, you know, everything's final, the divorce is final, y'all broke it up, y'all no longer there. That'd be different. But you still in the midst of it. Why? Why are you putting that shit out there like that? Because then what happens when you come back together and everything's all right with you? But guess what? Everybody else knows. Everybody else sees it. Everybody else gonna be critiqued. And you got some snakes out there. I had a buddy whose woman got rid of her girlfriend's ex because she realized he was a good man. Her girlfriend wasn't always on the up and up. And she knew because they went on girl trip together. They did their thing together. They know the secrets because they did it together, did the dirt together. But she realized she had a good one and she's messing around on it. She put it all out there. Guess what? Her girlfriend came and swooped him. Her girlfriend came and swooped him up.
The only thing I want to add to what you're saying is if you got 40, 35, and 40-year-old people doing what the 27-year-old, I wouldn't have as much empathy for them. I wouldn't have any. So to me, it's age dependent upon if I'm the person who's applying the empathy, age matters to who I'm giving it to. If
So
you're
when does
30,
it stop then?
if you're 30 or 40, I'm not going to give you any. If
Okay,
you're
so
27 and
is that the mark then? Is that the mark then?
Go ahead. Say that again.
Is that the mark then? When you hit that 30 mark,
No,
29 and a half?
I'm just
What
using that
is
as an
it?
example because you said 30s or 40s. I'm saying the older a person gets, the less empathy they deserve from the person on the outside looking in, because they should know better. If somebody's 25 and 27, I can give them the grace because I can understand that they're still idiots. You know,
So
and so that's why
if your old lady make a mistake and do something crazy, you're gonna have empathy for her. Or you gonna take this stand like you just
okay.
said? I'm gonna have
Okay.
less
Yeah,
empathy
I
the
don't want to
older you
make it
get.
personal.
Oh hell no.
But let me
Hell
say
no, Pay.
this. I'm gonna
Hell
answer.
no.
I'm gonna answer. Let me
Don't
answer.
backpedal now, brother.
Let me answer. At
Go ahead, brother.
35, yes, but at 62, not as much.
Okay, so
Let me have some empathy.
So you went from none to not as much.
Because that's
Let,
my wife. Yeah,
let,
we
let,
have
let me have
vows.
some.
I got you. I
Let me have
understand.
some empathy. To Hank's point. To Hank.
Hell,
Look,
no empathy for you
I
either, shot
agree.
your old head.
I agree. With they should not be doing it. I can understand that very clearly, and personally, I would probably follow the same suit. But the point being is that uh, a lot of for example, the secret stuff that we sometimes advocate is what destroyed our family structure often, and that's why I have a very sensitive position when it comes to holding back. Now, I'm not saying make it public. To your point, that's the I understand your point of view. But at the same time, all of the secrets keep between us. We're gonna resolve it ourselves. Has gotten us pretty much nowhere. It's gotten us in a lot of work, in many more worse or worse places than we have been in several years. And I'm identifying that, and I'm like, yo, we need to have some change. Now, does that change mean we need to be on social media talking all the stuff that? No, I am empathetic to your point of view on that. No, that is not the resolution. But the point that I was making earlier wasn't about the method of resolution. It was about getting to a resolution as opposed to not getting there, where we have been stuck and stagnant often.
Okay, so getting to the resolution. Yeah, I definitely understood what you were saying earlier. I wanted to address something that our Payne said. So you mentioned how age plays a role in the empathy that you have towards others. My just again evaluating the definition of empathy. My question to you guys is, should age play a role in when you're trying to gain understanding from someone else in the way that they're acting, behaving, responding, whatever the case may be? But should age play a role in that when you're trying to gain understanding?
I would just say yes. If you're asking me, yes, I think it does play a role, whether you want it or not. I think it plays a role. But your expectations changes of people the older they get.
Right, but if you're trying to gain understanding from someone, the understanding that you don't have, but being empathetic means you're gaining that understanding. No matter what age they are, shouldn't you be open to gaining the understanding? Although you think at a certain age you should already have this common sense or these core principles or whatever the case may be. Should age really play a factor in being empathetic towards someone?
I'd say yes. I still say yes, and I can explain it more, but let's let other people talk. I say yes, and I know why.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think expectations play a lot into that. If you put yourself as a person on the outside looking in on a situation, if a person's 18, I'll have more empathy for you because I say, well, you don't know enough about the world. If you're 25, it's a little level. If you're 35 years old, what lessons have you learned? And what lessons can I teach you by giving you a whole lot of empathy? Because at some point, if you're 45, so just like with everything else, most people, when you're 25, the screen door between you and reality is a screen door. But when you're 45, it's like a goddamn bankroll. You
Well, what
know?
about
And so-
someone that's never really shown you empathy? You know, people grow up in homes where parents don't even try to put themselves in their children's shoes or try to understand them. So that 27-year-old is going to grow up into a 45, 47-year-old trying to see where they can gain empathy from, because for some people it's not even modeled at home. You know what I mean? And so I think sometimes it can be misconstrued, or the perspective of the person that should be having empathy, they're not looking at it as I should have empathy towards them. They're looking at it as you should know better. You're at an age now where if you ain't thinking about it a certain type of way, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean?
No, I know I do agree. If you're empathetic, you should be empathetic no matter what. But there's layers to it. If you're 27 and you encounter me and I'm empathetic towards you, hopefully I could help you put some corrections in. But if you're 35 or 40 years old, the amount of effort, even if I'm empathetic to your plight, I have to let you know that, you know what, the things that you're doing, you're too old to come back from. Some of it, you ruin a marriage, you ruin some finances, because you've done something that you needed empathy for. So making that mistake at 40 is a whole lot different than making it in the 20s.
I hear what you're saying. I also hear you saying help, right? So empathy is not necessarily about giving someone help.
There's even understanding they need it.
No. Empathy is about understanding another person and maybe how they feel, the way that they're thinking. So empathy is not necessarily, okay, I'm gonna have empathy and I'm gonna help you. Like, I'm adopted, right?
Okay.
I don't know if anybody up here has ever been adopted or in foster care before. Have you?
Not me.
Right. So somebody may look at me, or somebody may come to me and be like, oh, or observe me and say, oh, well, she's doing that because she's adopted or she was in foster care. Right. So their first line of defense is trying to help or trying to be a savior or things like that, when it's like, no, empathetic is gaining understanding, meaning, let me read up about adoption. Let me read up about foster care. Let me watch some videos and see what other people went through. Let me talk to people that have been in the same situation, so I know how to then understand this person. It's not necessarily that you're trying to help them, where that may come down the line once you understand, but the main objective is to understand. And I think that a lot of people do run to helping or saving or just piecing out, like, I ain't even dealing with it.
I understand where you're coming from.
They try to understand, and understanding, right? And the Bible says, in all thy ways get understanding, right? And understanding is simply, let me sit down and hear you out. Let's have a conversation. And then after I have my conversation with you, let me go do a little bit of research. And let me gain a little bit of knowledge on why you may be that way. Or maybe we need to have a few conversations, but let me learn, let me gain some wisdom and knowledge about what you're going through and where you're at.
No, I hear what you're saying. I mean, I do. I hear what you're saying. I still think that the amount of effort that I will put in, it might still be a little different, but I understand in principle what you're talking about. But if you use yourself as an example, I don't know when you got not free, but was emancipated and started going on your own. At 18, your mindset was a whole lot different than it is now. I don't know how old you are now, but yeah, I could have empathy for what it takes to be an adopted kid. But whatever pressures and whatever traumas that were on you back then, they might still be there, but they can't be at the same level, right? Because you're a functioning adult now, right? So I can have empathy for what it is to be adopted. So I'll be careful on what kind of conversations we have. I would have been more careful at 18 because those wounds are still open. They might still be open now, but you've had time to heal those things with or without my help.
Thank God I have, but there are a lot of people who don't, right? They don't get someone to understand them. They don't get someone to, you
Okay.
know, you know,
Yeah,
some
you
people
have a point. You have a
you're
point. I understand.
too emotional, or you're too, and before they understand the person, they write them off. And so
Right.
then you have people walking around really being psychopaths, or really not really understanding how to control their anger or anguish, not being able to communicate in a healthy way, or the people who lack the empathy, like, again, I'm gonna just write you off. And so they stay in that apathetic, right? With the A, without feeling. They're not understanding, they're not trying to understand you. And so that creates that can create a grudge in someone, or it create this negative energy. And now everybody's wondering, like, why are they like that? Right? Like, what's going on with them?
I understand. You're right.
And they get the other side of what empathy really should be.
Gotcha.
Sean, where you gonna go?
Yeah, I was going to say the irony of empathy is that I'm empathetic to the fact that you can't teach an old dog new tricks, which means there's a lot of old fools.
Oh yeah, I agree with there definitely are a lot of old fools, but that doesn't mean you can't treat
No, that's why I'm saying I understand that. So instead of, going ahead and trying, convince otherwise, I'm empathetic to the fact that perhaps they are set in their ways, and perhaps they don't want to change, and perhaps they don't want to be empathetic. So therefore, let me meet them where they are, and let's try to move from there.
Okay. I can
So
understand that.
going back to, we're talking about a young man. We're not talking about this woman who wrote this letter, sent it in, and was looking for a public acceptance or some type of answer. It was some dude. So we all know as men, that's not how we should be moving. Man, a man looking for empathy? No, that's not how we came up. Because we know the world ain't gonna show us no empathy. They're not gonna be soft on us. They're not gonna be forgiving, especially as man of color. I don't know what color this dude is, but we know that's not how the world works. But that's how he's moving. Like he's supposed to, oh, I want y'all to accept me. And no, somebody should have sit down and told that man, hey man, dude, why are you doing this? You on some bullshit. That's what should have been. And I hope somebody had a conversation with him after they seen it. I hope his boys tore his ass up and gave him the business, because he should be moving like this. Why are you putting your marriage out there in the streets? What type of man are you? How are you emotionally protecting your wife? How are you mentally protecting your wife? Physically, you open it up, even though you may not think physically you are, but you are. Because what type of effect is that going to have on her if she goes and read that, her co-workers read that, and they like, what's going on? Then you can't don't sit there and tell me you love me and you put my business out there like that. You don't love me, you love yourself more, because you all worry about what it's going to make you feel like. What about how it's going to make her feel? Oh, but you don't give a shit because it's all about me. So RP, he might be right. Maybe he's not ready to be married because he sounds selfish, inconsiderate, and unreasonable. And as a man, you can't be moving like that. That's the last thing you got to be, as selfish as a man. That's the last thing you got to be, as unreasonable. You can't move like that as a man. That's not how we was built. That's how we was made. Now we all know we men all never get their due like they should.
That's true.
We the last person to get our dues, and know the time we get our dues after we dead and gone, 6 feet under. Then they'll start thinking back, damn man, he was doing this, helping out, making sure the family was good, checking on people, texting them, going over, driving by, bringing them food. Yeah, he was doing that. What was that shit when I was up and alive and still kicking? Y'all didn't send me no money to cash app to try to help buy some food for y'all, or come over and give me some gas money when I was getting my truck and helping y'all move from point A to point B. Nah, wasn't none of that going on. It wasn't till, you were to get my flowers after I can't smell them no goddamn more. Now that's irrelevant to me, but I'm just saying. So as men, we know that's our situation, but we still do what we got to do. Why? Because we have empathy for our loved ones, for our wives, our children, our extended family, for our people. Sometimes too much empathy. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna leave it there. You on mute, Precious. You on mute.
Just to close this topic out,
And I'm sure you had a bar, but we couldn't hear you.
oh no. I literally just said the same thing. To close the topic out, how do you guys think that you can? Do you think you are efficient or sufficient in the empathy area, or do you think that there is, adjustments that you can make? And if so, how do you think that you can work on them? I really wish King was here, because he I would want to know what he has to say about this. So when you watch this back, King, comment below. But do you guys think that and anyone who is struggling in this area, do you think that you are struggling, or that there are areas that you can improve in empathy, and how would you get the ball moving on that? Kenny?
Man, oh, my phone.
Oh, go ahead, Hank. Go ahead. You came off the mic.
No, what I was gonna say, ways of improvement, man. I don't know. I mean, if you wasn't taught that and shown that early, it's kind of hard to all of a sudden develop it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess it's possible,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know what. Man, I don't know. I guess maybe you'd have to have some people who you could confide in and talk to them, and maybe one who is sympathetic and able to help you recognize when you should be and you should not be. I think that's probably going to be it. Have some type of mentor that could probably have a conversation with you, that could recognize and help you recognize the signs where you need to make sure you have some empathy for certain situations. But at the same time, make sure when that empathy needs to be shut off, and no more empathy, because Babe Boy done made too many mistakes. He financially put himself way farther in debt. You saved him way too many times. You told him, this is the last time I'm going to bail you out on these help paying your rent. You got to feel this. You gotta take one for the team now, brother. If that means you get evicted, so be it. And then I can tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to know when to cut it on and cut it off, man. So I guess if somebody, like I said, could probably help teach you and show you and help you recognize the signs of it, when it should be and what it should be. So,
okay. Kenny?
I think in life we're flawed, and the way you learn these is the hard lesson, and you fail forward. There's going to be situations that you go in and you don't know how to pretty much read the room, like as you were explaining with our pain about being empathetic with someone that comes from an adopted home, and you not watching what you say and how it affects somebody. Doesn't matter your age. You will always come to a situation where you have a misstep. So you have to fail and go through it. Be truly intentional about learning and genuinely say you're sorry, and then build upon that, and just store that as not a L, like a loss, L in a lesson, and move through life expecting more of those situations to come, because it only builds your grit.
I agree with that.
I agree with that. I agree with that as well. And just so that you know, the practice of the old dog that I was referring to of being empathetic was myself. I'm that old dog that I had to be empathetic to my age and be empathetic to being set in my ways, and change that and try and understand, or be more empathetic to others. And so that's why sometimes you hear me speak from those spaces of other people's perspectives, is just exercising that empathy that I said I learned that I need to exercise with myself, and learning how to be more empathetic to others.
Okay. Well, that's great. Self-reflection. That's what we're here for, to get these perspectives and to reflect. Thanks so much, Hank. I really appreciate you. Safe travels to you. All right. So as far as empathy, I would say one way that you can practice empathy, and in my opinion, this may not be the way that everyone goes about it, but one way you can practice empathy is looking at people who are less fortunate than you, helping them out, being in service oriented positions, being able to serve in a way where you are you are not looking for anything in return. You're literally there to be of service. I think part of empathy is part of being of service, because when you are in service, you are thinking about the other person. You are thinking about how they're feeling. In some cases, depending on what you're doing, whether you're feeding the homeless, you're clothing the less fortunate, donating, whatever the situation is, you're thinking about that person in a way where your emotions are, I want to, I don't know what it's like not to have a cold or a jacket in the wintertime. I don't know what it's like not to have AC and see people homeless in the summertime and they're sweating bullets and they're not the cleanest and things like that. And so I think, empathy really starts by having a servant heart towards others. Because if you can have a servant heart towards others, that's how you truly are able to build and sustain relationships to the people close to you, being able to serve others who can do nothing for you. So then when you are showing empathy towards your family or immediate family members, and it should mean something for the people that you don't know and who are complete strangers to you. And again, they can't do anything for you, but for the people that are in your immediate circle, practicing that empathy with them, at least you should render something in return. Because it should be a forever cycle of reciprocity and give and take, and again, being able to serve that other person. And so that's one way I believe we can practice empathy, is by looking at those who are less fortunate or just serving others in some type of capacity, where you have to think about others and it's not all about you, and you're not being selfish, and you're not carrying out these narcissistic traits where it's all about you. And then when someone comes to you with an issue, it's like, oh, well, I don't feel that, so that's not my problem, that's your problem. You know what I mean? When you do that for somebody that can't do anything for you, you have a different recollection of what empathy is and how to continue to practice it with those who mean much to you. So that would be my suggestion with practicing empathy, because men, y'all can do everything, right? You don't necessarily need anybody else for anything. But when you are dealing with those who are less fortunate than you, or maybe a young kid who is following the same footsteps as you, you can actually put yourself in his shoes. You can actually, go the extra step to help that person and to actually feel their emotions and understand their perspective, because you have been there before. All right. So last topic. A man says why you never chase a woman. And of course, he's talking about a man, of course. But he says why you never chase a woman. We're going to get into this video. I do want to thank Darnell for the Cash App. I really appreciate you. If you're still watching, thank you so much for the support and contribution to the platform. Okay. B Fire says, I actually like when you guys are on this platform. Better talk and more realistic. It will grow in due time. I appreciate your support. Thank you. Yo, Kenny, you used to play basketball at Alfred E. Smith, right? You got somebody that recognized you in the chat. All right, so we're going to get into this. Why you never chase a woman.
You never chase a woman, because chasing a woman is feminine energy. The second you start chasing a woman, she starts losing attraction for you. Feminine women have always chased that high value masculine man that they're interested in. That's how it's always been. So the fact that female dating coaches are spewing bullshit once again and saying how a man should chase a woman, that is bullshit. The reason why they're saying that, it's because women have an innate fear of rejection. They can't handle rejection. They can manipulate you guys by telling you, you do the chasing. We don't have to do anything. You guys should be the ones pursuing and chasing, because they can't handle rejection. So that's how they manipulate you fellas. And let's manipulate them so we can still have the power. But another thing that chasing a woman does, it eliminates the fact how you can't gauge her level of interest if you're the one chasing her. You don't know if this girl has high interest in you or not if you're the one chasing. When a girl chases me, by sending me good morning texts, asking when she can see me again, fighting for my time, calling me, FaceTiming me. That woman has high interest in me. That's how I know I can invest a little bit more money in her. I can invest a little bit more time in seeing her because this woman has shown me that she has high interest in me. You guys can't do that when you're constantly chasing a woman. It's a win-lose situation for you. It's a win for her and a lose for you because she doesn't have to worry about being rejected. And now it's a lose for you because you're in.
That was the end of the video. Sorry, y'all, it cut off right there, but that was the end of the clip that I saw. So I do see I disagree in the chat, but how do you guys feel? Do you think chasing a woman is feminine energy?
It could be. It could be, depending on how you chase it. But, you know, I like these conversations because I agree with them. I mean, if you're a guy who is regularly active and you're a select guy, the dynamics with women is a whole lot different than if you're a non-select guy. And we keep trying to, ignore that fact, right? There's guys that women gravitate towards, and then there's guys who have to go out and cultivate relationships with women a lot harder, a lot more. And those are just the harsh realities. That's why when you look at statistics, they say around 35% of men between 18 and 35 haven't had one sexual partner, right? And I don't know if I agree with those statistics, but, you know, they're not getting a lot of bodies. So they're going to chase women. They're going to chase women, and they don't care if you call them, effeminate and all that. They're going to chase women. The women who get 1,000 or 100,000 likes on their Instagram, those are those guys. You know, and the fact that OnlyFans is off the chart for some women, those are those guys. You know, so the evidence of men chasing women is all around us. So for this guy to come out and say don't chase women, some guys will say it's easy for you to say. I got 3-inch thick glasses. And, I got a pimple on my forehead and ain't no women looking for me. I got to chase those. I got to chase them. You know, so all I'm just trying to say is, so it sounds really good. It sounds real masculine. Don't chase them. It's a good little message. But like maybe 10 to 20% of men can actually live that and actually do.
Hmm. When you say guys like on OnlyFans, are they chasing women or are they chasing an
a fantasy?
Feeling?
That's the same thing. They're chasing a fantasy. But their fantasy is really psychotic because they're never going to touch these women.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Are they really chasing the women?
Yeah. That's just indicative of how they will deal with women in real life. Matter of fact, they might have completely ignored women in real life. That's why they're on OnlyFans. Because they don't have that same rejection. They'd rather live the fantasy. That guy is not going to be suave. The majority of them are not going to be suave when it comes to a real woman. It's not. One woman shows him a little smile and some attention, he's running after her big time. I got a chance to get a real woman. How fast do I have to run? And he's running his ass off. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. The guy said when you start chasing a woman, she stops losing attraction to you. Do you guys believe that's true? When you start chasing a woman, she stops losing attraction to you?
Yes, I believe that. Go ahead.
Your women are enigmas, and you're also unicorns. Certain women, they don't like to be chased, but then again, they want their attention. And it's like a quagmire. It's like you start crying like Tyrese, what do you want from me? It's like, I can't be in your head. You pique my interest. Am I not supposed to see about you? Am I not supposed to learn things that make you smile and make you, think and, make you see me different than you see a regular man walking on the street? That takes time. That takes interest. That takes me pursuing. But then again, you can line up certain females, and the one that you pick is the one that, oh, he's pursuing me way too much, and she changes the whole dynamic of the thing that you thought you were doing right, as for showing interest and wooing her in certain type of ways lately, and then you could just become friends on Freddie or Brose real quick.
So Kenny, I mean, you use Tyrese, right? He's not a good example. It's almost like using the
I used the thing that he did, not
no,
Tyrese.
let me just finish this, because he's the kind of man who shouldn't be chasing anybody. The fact that he's a loser in love is because somehow he's got a personality flaw. If I could sing, I could act, and I had the money he has, there's not a woman on this earth that I would chase. Not one. So the fact that he chases women, he chooses poorly, is his problem somewhere, because that's not how a man with his attributes should be moving. That's what I'm
doing. How'd you just use him as a focal point of, rather than me just making fun of
because you mentioned him, and you mentioned him in the context of the fact that he's
I
a
mentioned
loser
him
in
for
love.
a thing, metaphorically speaking.
Maybe I'm saying the metaphor just took me into that place.
No,
you took
I would
me there.
agree. I'm 100% in agreement with the situation that he's dealing with. Is like, yeah, that's a lot, but that's more than just, there's a child involved, there's legal matters involved, there's a whole bunch of things that goes in that. But going back on the topic, it's an enigma. Part of what that guy said, I fully agree with. It's like, you know what? I'm going to stay focused on my purpose, because me investing this time, and no man can say if it's a woman that piques his interest, he doesn't put emotion in it. You are actually doing things to make sure this one woman out of any other woman notices you. And in hopes that she takes you as that one, she was like, you know what? I think I'll have him, because I'm watching as much effort being put into me, and I genuinely like it. Then you have those other small subsect that will have you spinning around and on your back and counting them, those things, those canaries flying around your head, and you just can't figure it out.
Well, tell me what the difference is, though, Kenny, with your examples. The example you just gave. Well, no, what I'm saying is the woman that I'm not saying you don't pursue a woman, but if you have, here's what I'm saying. A lot of times when you pursue a chick, it's what I believe. She sees you coming. So she's already made up her mind that she likes you. So if she sees you coming, it depends on there's levels to it, right? There's just kind of levels. You put your foot out there so she can keep her so-called woman ego in check and say, listen, he's coming towards me. That's enough, because I really want him already. And then the other guys who are chasing women and become RMOs, that's different. They're chasing a woman. They have no interest in him, but he's still coming towards her. And she assesses, well, maybe I can get something from this RMO without giving them any sex. Random male orbiters. That's why some women have a whole bunch of random male orbiters who we call just like guys in a friend zone. They extract what they need from these dudes and whatever it might be. And then they just keep them in that goddamn orbit. Some of those guys might get lucky once in a while, but most of them don't. And so it depends on what kind of woman you are. But the guy that she wants, she would like to see him make some kind of effort sometime. But maybe he doesn't have to. If she really wants him, he don't have to chase at all. Those are a very small percentage of men.
So, Payne, have you never heard of examples where stories are told, like in church or like gatherings or what have you, that, I never thought I liked him. He was always pestering me. He was always around and then around, and I got used to him. And then I found out that this was a very nice guy. Big heart. He remembered my birthday, my favorite color, the cannoli I like to eat, he remembered things, and he went out his way to be corny. I used to call him corny, but he became my corny.
It happens. I'm not. This. It happens. Those guys are outliers. It happens.
Just like,
You know.
but that's all in the same pond. So for going back to the statement before, because we went all different directions with it.
Oh.
In part, that is true, but you have to be able to assess the situation
I agree.
correctly
I don't disagree.
and tread carefully, because if that woman really moves you like that, boy, that gut punch you get if you mess up that opportunity, nothing nice.
Well, there'll be some people say you ain't a real man unless you got gut punched. What's up, Lapeef? What's going on, man?
Good evening, Lapeef. I know he said he was setting up his camera.
Yeah. No, you're right, Betty. There's a lot of scenarios too. I agree with you. Man. I don't just.
Hey, Payne, you ever had somebody take your girl?
Jeez, man, let me think
I
back.
heard that side.
Yeah, remember, I've been married for a long time.
You gotta think.
I gotta think back to the dinosaur age. You know what? I had a girlfriend that I lived with. We both cheated on each other, so I don't know, man. I started it, and she got me back. And guess what? We stayed together for a little while too.
Why
That
is
was
just
back in the
coming
day.
out today? Merry Christmas. Wait a minute. We've never heard this. We've never heard this before.
He
You
freeze
was a
and then
scallywag?
did he freeze? Oh.
So,
Wait, you was a
you asked that
scallywag?
question, a scallywag. Say that again. Was she a scallywag or was I? You know, man, back in the
Was
day.
you? You said you did it first.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I learned a lesson. Never admit it. Never admit that you cheat on your woman. If she comes in the room and she says, "I saw you," so it wasn't me.
Oh, you know what? I dated a guy like that. How did you say that? How did you say that?
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. I was asleep, but I wasn't asleep. And it was early in the morning. He was going to work. And he was just going through my phone. Like he just picked up my phone and just started going through my phone. And the next day I woke up and he got home and I said, "I saw you going through my phone. Everything okay? Like, you good?" I wasn't going through your phone. I was like, "I saw you with your phone." Like, I saw you with it in your hand, bright light on. And he had told me he had trust issues in a relationship prior to that. He had found that his ex was cheating with her masseuse. Like, so some people, just have those fears and traumas, and so they think that everybody is going to do it. So I believe that a lot of men do have that deny. Dude, if you don't see me do it, I mean, I saw him do it in that case, but most of them's like, if you can't pin me to the crime of the scene, like, don't say that I did it.
Older frat brother told me, he said, "Man, did she see you do it?" I said, "No." He said, "Why you admit it?" I said, "Well, I was stupid." And he said, "Yeah, don't ever admit it. Don't, because she don't want to hear you say yes. Just keep saying no. She could have all the innuendo she wants." I didn't do it, baby.
This is why y'all driving women crazy. You heard it here first on the Real Press.
It's just funny. I never, you know what? Since I got married, I didn't have to worry about it. But I never admit shit. That's I tell young guys that shit all the time. Never admit nothing, man. She gotta take a picture of you, and if it's not clear, it's not you.
See, that's why you because they know that these men are gonna deny it. So that's why they go to the highest level of humiliation. Because they're like, nobody's going to believe me. No one's going to believe this. So let me put it on social media to air him out, because who would believe little old me?
It's still not me, baby. It's still
not me. Man. It still ain't you, huh?
It's just not me.
Right. It wasn't me. Okay.
Boy, the plot thickens.
Listen, man, the little short 9 years or 7, 8 years, but of my experience before I got married, man, they were filled with all kinds of great experiences. I'm telling you.
You try to make it sound like it was like 5 months.
It was a couple. It was a couple of years. I mean,
some of these guys be going
17 to 25, 26, man. 17 to 26. It's a short period of time to be a free man.
And chasing a woman, back to the topic, is not feminine energy. You listen
No,
to those dudes on the sideline that ain't got nothing chasing them or nothing they pursuing. That sound like misery love company. And I ain't sticking around with you.
Now,
Yeah.
do you guys think that feminine women chase high value men? Or do you think that feminine women put themselves in position to be around high value men that will catch their attention? Because I don't necessarily think now you have what's her name? Gabby. What's her name that just married
Peter Bay, the big one?
Huh?
Oh, Gabby who?
Am I saying her name right? The gymnast. Am I saying I may be saying
Oh,
it
you
wrong.
talking about
Simone Biles?
Yeah, Simone Biles. Yeah.
Gabby.
I'm thinking about
Married
Gabby.
the football.
So
She
would you
married the football player.
her being a feminine woman chasing a high value man? Well, a lot of people didn't even had a lot of negative things to say about that man. I don't know why, but would you consider her a high value or a feminine woman chasing a high value man? Simone Biles.
Who wants to take? I just consider her just. See, one of the things I think we have a problem with, especially with so-called modern women, is that they believe their achievements means they're no longer regular women. She just saw a guy she liked and loved. That's it. It doesn't matter what she was doing, you know.
Right.
So she just fell for a guy who, you know what? He might not make it. He's never going to be as famous as her, but he's not a scrub. He's going to make a little bit of money in the NFL. And she was enamored with him, and she went after what she wanted. Can you imagine how many guys that are afraid to approach her, who didn't approach her, what kind of lonely life she has as a gymnast, working out all the time and all this, everybody, you know, so she saw an opportunity, she took it. And that was it. And I think people make a little bit more out of it. So, yeah, I mean, there's beautiful women who say, listen, you know what? My options are limited, not because I'm beautiful, it's because the kind of guys I like is limited, very limited. Right. So if I have an opportunity to snag one of them, the smart woman will go do it without the bullshit from, you know, the modern media. And she was just one of them. And she took a lot of flack for it because of that interview. And she told everybody to kiss her ass.
I think Simone actually did what most women don't do nowadays, and that's just shoot her shot. Like Simone was like, you know what? I'm gonna just go in his DMs. I'm gonna just, you know, do that. But Simone Biles reminds me of this video that I saw of this man speaking about the woman that he's with.
Women, I wanted them. They never wanted me. But when I met my girl, you know what I'm saying? Shout out wifey, I love you so much. She chose me. She wanted me. We met on some natural shit, bro. I never even told our story on any kind of interview, bro. I met her one day at the beach, bro. It was a beach party down the shore. It was just a regular day. I was with my bro, Eric, and we was drunk as hell. They was drunk as hell. So I'm just thinking like, oh, we just met each other. We bumped each other. We just had a little vibe. I got a number. That was it. I ain't speak to her for months after that, bro. We just had little side texts here and there or just little messages on the gram, and that was it. And then one day she just took a chance on me, bro. We went to go see a movie. We went to go see Smile. That was the first movie date we went on. And from there, she been stuck with me. And she chooses me every day. She wakes up and actively chooses me. She go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs over me. Over the slightest little things and shit like that. And even though it'd be annoying, but if you, fellas, if you got a woman that's out there that's like that really cares about you, that just like really, really wants you to be all about her, be all about her, bro. Because at any point in time, she could be with some other, she could be doing something with somebody else. But if she's waking up and choosing you, you lucky, bro. You lucky. You gotta understand that and keep and hold that down. You know what I'm saying? Because that's rare, especially now with the kids and dad. You ain't gonna find nobody like that because these just feel like, oh, the moment you do one thing they don't like, they on to the next one, or they in the club again, popping bottles with this, popping his chain. Man, no, bro. She choosing you, bro. Stay with her. Choose her too. Y'all gonna be good forever and ever.
I see. I agree with him 100%. One of my tenets was, and I'll be real quick. I said to men out there, make sure the woman that's with you looks at you as her number one choice. That's important. I mean, it's the most important thing you could do. Whether you're rich, you're not rich, you're just a regular degular guy like I was. my wife was all over me, man. I'm telling you, and she didn't need to be, right? Because she was pretty, you know. I mean, I always overshot my kick my coverage, but she just she wouldn't let me go. And so I said, you know what? Where else am I going? Right? So, you know, we didn't take long. We're still together. So I agree with him. If you find a woman, you just have to be able to recognize that. Now, he's a young boy, and a lot of those guys have a lot of women in their orbit. And it seems to me that he was one of those guys who was able to recognize a woman like that when he saw her. Very few men know how to do that. Very few men know how to do that.
Like he said, he was liking the women, but they weren't liking him. And so I like the terminology that he uses, and he uses the word choose. So instead of chasing someone, you should choose someone, because if you continuously chasing someone, you just may not catch him. But if you actually choose someone and someone chooses you, right? Not every, but most women who desire marriage want to be chosen. They don't necessarily want to be chased. The chase is the thrill. The chase is, you know, the small talk and all that other stuff. But are you choosing me? Is this small talk going to wear off in a couple of weeks? Am I just the pick of the week, the flavor of the week, or the flavor of the month? Most women want to be chosen, and it's such a blessing when women actually choose men too. When women choose men for the men that they are, not because they have money, not because they have swag, not because, you know, what their family has can benefit you in the long run when somebody die off. It's, I choose this man because I like him as in his shell, and who he is in his spirit, and who he is in his heart. And it has nothing to do with any additives. The additives are just cherries on top. Like, that's great for us. But at the end of the day, do I choose you, you know, as a person? Are you the person that I would choose out of all of these people that, you know, you guys like to say that women have what do y'all call it? What do you call it, Arpane? A orbit or something? What'd you call it? A waiting orbit? I don't know what you called it.
Yeah, men in their orbit. I call it random. I call them random. RMO, random. Male orbits. Orbiters, random male orbiters. That's what I call it.
So, and there are men that know that women do have this, and so he feels a certain type of way, like that guy in that last video is like, she chooses me, right? And you see how happy that makes him. You see how, how he feels a little bit more complete knowing that he has someone on his side that actually supports and chooses him because that's what she wants to do, not because she has to do it. And we need more of that. We need more people choosing people that they want to be with, because they love the person that they are, and not because they like the circumstances or the economic circumstances that this person is in. Because you could be rich together, but you could also be poor together. Money comes and goes. You're both well or able working people. You both should be able to work and get some money at any angle, no matter what it is, no matter, if it's in you, it's in you. So for some women, it's just not in them. And some men have to realize that too. Do I want a chick who lazy? She choosing me, but she's only choosing me because I make it comfortable for her, or she's only choosing me because I have an environment that allows her to flourish, but I don't get anything back in return. Right. So you have to understand that you need to choose someone who is not only going to choose you, but also choose to work with you, whether it's, purpose driven, whatever you have going on, whatever the case may be. But I think more people stay together and they have fulfilling relationships when they actually choose one another and not choose society or what the family say, or, the pressures of getting older and the clock ticking and all that other stuff. You want to choose someone because you know that if they don't change from here on out, from this day forward, you can deal with them how they are and how they come, and all that glory from that day on out, if nothing changes from that day forward.
Agree.
And I think women get with men thinking, oh, well, in a couple of months or in a year or two, I'm going to be elevated to this. No, but what if that don't happen? Would you still be with him? What if y'all never reached that? Would you still be with him?
No, let me see something. He didn't say they were married or anything like that, did he?
The second guy talking
Yeah,
about
the young guy just said about the women.
no, I don't.
But the only thing is, one of those things is that's a prerequisite, but as long as he reserves the right, because he's got to be the one to ask to open that marriage gate. And she has to say yes. So, it's good to know that she chooses you, but you still have to be responsible for asking her and hearing her say yes.
Right.
And that's the key, So I got a lot of guys ask women they shouldn't be asking at all because they haven't really punched all the tickets they should have punched. Anyway,
Well, they probably chased that woman. They probably chased her, and now they're in a situation where they're getting married and they second guessing, the marriage and going down the aisle with this person. So, good evening, JR Lapeef JR. Excuse me. How are you this evening?
Yeah, there you go. It's still on. You're still muted.
How everybody doing?
What's going on, JR? What's happening?
Good.
Another day in the paradise. What's going on, Kenny P?
All right. Were you able to see the video of why you never chase a woman? That video? I know you were setting up.
It was the first video, right? The first
Yeah.
one. You played. Yeah. I was able to catch a little bit of it, but I think the title was self-explanatory. So my view, my take on it. I didn't hear what you guys had to say, so if I repeat something, then it is what it is. Never chase a woman. I agree. I don't think you should be chasing a woman. People so quick to say we should chase our purpose, but what does that really mean, right? I think that you have to make sure that you are in order, especially when you are considering to lead a woman and lead a family. You have to make sure that your life and everything that you have is somewhat in order, or either leading in that direction. Sometimes life just happens a little bit earlier than anticipating. And if you don't got things together, then you got to get it together, because now you've either made a mistake or you got yourself in a situation, and now this is part of the problem. This is a problem that you have to solve. So I don't think nobody should really never chase a woman. I think that it's just kind of like a wasted time, wasted energy.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. Now, do you guys think that women manipulate guys by telling them to chase them? Is that like a manipulation tool by women to have guys chasing her?
I think it all depends on the woman. I think some women are conditioned to have that type of mindset. It may not be a mature mindset, because when does it stop? There are some women that get well off into their 40s and 50s and they still have that same mindset and they're still single. So I think if you can have a balance with it both ways, I think a man, if he's going to chase a woman, if he sees a woman that he likes, then he should at least be intentional in some ways to kind of let her know, hey, I'm interested. But chasing her, I just think is the extreme. But when it comes to a woman, usually a woman that gets a lot of attention, she's down for the chase. And sometimes other women that may not get a lot of attention, that may not be what most guys are seeking, they're just mimicking the behavior or the ways that they see other women do, and it may not benefit them. There are some women that's going to get attention regardless. So, and there's some men that's going to give that attention. It's going to always be that way. But when you really are looking forward and looking to see who's really getting together, I don't think women that have that mindset and that mentality are actually achieving marriage, achieving long-lasting relationships, whatever that may look like for the individuals.
Okay. What about you guys? Payne, Kenny?
Yeah, well, when you say manipulation, but can you hear me? When you say manipulation, it comes in many forms, right? Some people say there's benign manipulation and then there's malignant manipulation. The dance that you do with the woman that you're enamored with and her with you, there's a dance, right? So there's somehow you have to ferret out whether your pursuit of each other is something that is wholesome and intentional, or she's just playing games. Now, some of that stuff depends on what your position is in life and what her position is in life. If you're equally yoked and you're both trying to look to get your feet on the ground, you don't have as much to worry about. But if you got a whole bunch of bag and she don't have nothing, then you have a little bit more to worry about. And vice versa. If she got something and you don't have anything, is she with you just because she got an itch she wants you to scratch? You know, so I mean, I think when it comes to that kind of marketplace, I think women have more of an advantage than men think that men allow them to think they have. And women know, men don't. Men think that they are in charge of everything, and it's not necessarily true, especially when it comes to sex. So it just depends on, you know, the situation. So there's all kinds of situations. So as a man, you just got to know where you fit in, right? If you got a lot to lose, you're going to be wary of the women who come at you. If you're just a guy on your square and you just like kind of getting it together, but you somehow know your way around women, you don't have to be as cautious because you don't have as much to lose. And most women who coming at you, they can see whether you're rich or not rich, and they might just like you. So you got to keep. So it's a various thing. Now, I've been out of the market, and everybody keeps telling me how crazy it is today in the marketplace. And thank God I'm not out there. You know, so you know, I just came off a stream where the whole notion of the stream was the quest for a marriageable Black woman. Right? Out of all this shit we talk about, are there any left in America? Of course there are. But there's a whole bunch of men on these stupid streets who'll tell you that there's not. I don't agree with that. But you still have to ferret out more women today than I had to do back in my day.
Right.
So, you know, so I mean, so it's, you know, dating is a little bit of manipulation, a little bit, but it doesn't mean it has to be nefarious. Let me just land it there.
Okay. Kenny?
I think it was the point of some women love to be chased. That ego needs to be fed. Others, they realize the complexity, and I would say that's the small subset. They realize the complexity for a man just to come up to a woman in this day and time and just be judged on their character, not their FICO score, not what they can give them. The wrong messages being pushed. You look at the predominant factors. If you can quote Sexy Red, I want to get away from you quick and fast. Because I don't want to know if you're booty hole black.
Oh
I
my
want to know
God.
your name. I want to know the things that you like. I want to know how you see me. Can I be comfortable? Can I be unguarded with you? Because most men, I'm not giving you my trust. Just like you ain't giving me your panties. So we gonna have to come to some amicable agreement. I like you. And I know well in New York, we did a test, a couple fellas that I know. See how many hellos you can get and get a response back. Probably like 3 out of 10.
In real
There's a
life?
lot.
Like on the
Oh
street?
yeah, we did it on Fifth Ave. We did it on Fifth Ave. Just a simple hello. I can only speak in my opinion from what I saw, which is factual.
Mm.
A hello is a dirty word.
Well, you
A
know,
lot
you
of
are
women. You said
maybe you
what?
Kakalaki. It's like, no, I said you
Yeah,
are New York.
you know,
That has
it's
always
part.
been the culture of New York.
Yeah,
That's not even like a 5 to 10 year type of thing. That's just the culture.
yeah.
Unfortunately, it's sad.
I'm in full agreement. But I know a lot of women that like to chase, and then it goes back to the point of what we're trying to establish when I was going back and forth with R Pain. It is a daunting task to put your heart on the line and your feelings, because men do have feelings no matter how they try to mask it and say I like you, and then get a whole rock thrown in your eye of insults. Or I remember back in the days they used to be, you know, I'm flattered, but you know, not
They let you
interested or have a man. Even if you don't get your corny, if you don't get your oh, you like me. Mess around, get maced in your eye. Listen, the chase is there. It's not for the wary. You really got to be up and ready for the day. If you see something, tread cautiously or go directly into the breach. Full steam ahead, ready to go. And just deal with how the chips fall after that. But women do like to chase. Unfortunately, a lot of what they catch, they don't want to keep or find out if it tastes good.
Labi, do you think chase should be the terminology or should it be choice? Like, I'm not gonna chase you, I'm gonna make a choice to be with you, because I think if you chasing a woman, you could be chasing a lot of different women. So, again, I think that more women than not would say that they would rather be and women would rather be chosen, and there are men who want to be chased.
So what was the question?
The terminology, do you think chase is a good word to use when it comes to the dynamics of a man and woman? Should it be a chasing type of situation scenario, or should it be a choice?
I mean, I'm not the person for words when it comes to that. I get the point. So whether you chasing, pursuing, vetting, I still think there's a balance in between it, and it's going to all depend on the type of person you're dealing with when it comes to man or a woman. I think certain men do qualify for certain type of women, and those women, if they want them, then they're gonna make it be known some way. And if you catch that signal, then that's when you begin to bite. I mean, there are some women who just absolutely. Well, I've seen women that are used to getting chased still put themselves in position, depending on the man. So now there are circumstances that once the man starts to give her a little bit of attention, he may start to give her a little bit too much attention, and then now she begins to have the upper hand in the relationship because that's what she was already used to, and so now he just became her victim, and the whole time she wasn't really seeking anything serious, but she just got him in a way that works for her where she's benefiting. So I mean, it's all a game. You just got to understand the person you're dealing with, what's going on. You got to be able to read the play as it's being presented. I mean, when you come to dating, there's no set way that you can look at any relationship because it can just change just like that. And you got to be knowing what to do and how to respond to it because you'll be surprised. And the older you get, you're just dealing with somebody else's experience. And to Payne say he's not on the dating scene. I think it's safe to say that anybody that's like 33, 34 plus, 9 times out of 10 is going to be a representative. It's going to be a lot of discovering. So if you guys decide to hop into a real relationship, it's going to be some work on both ends. Like y'all going to make some discoveries, and then y'all may have to revisit and say, I don't think this is what I really signed up for. Like I've seen people say they are a certain way of presenting themselves, and then once conflict starts to happen, you begin to see a different side of them.
Mm-hmm.
So the person that's on the receiving end that's witnessing it, they got to be either understanding. The person that's done it got to be like, oh shit, the thing I've been trying to keep tight and closed and hopefully wouldn't get discovered, it came out. And then y'all had to have a conversation and just try to figure it out, man. But like that's why I agree. I think people should date younger, and they should try to find they people young because then you don't have all those miles and all those experiences and different levels of trauma on both sides. Because I think men have it too, especially a man that's been hurt. You still got to question the man that's single too, or at least a man that ain't been in a relationship in a long ass time. It's like, damn, what happened? What you been doing all this time?
Chasing and not choosing. It's like, no, I'm just kidding. I don't know what he's been doing, but I think that I agree. I definitely agree with what you're saying. I think that conflict in any relationship is going to definitely bring the relationship to a different dynamic. and that's with people who, you know, can communicate. That's with people who did choose one another. I think that, you know, conflict is always going to bring out the best or the worst in a person. So like you said, it's a choice that you have to make to continue to, you know, see that thing through. The last question I wanted to ask you guys or bring to the forefront, and not even a question, just from what the guy was saying in the video. He says, if you're the one chasing, you can't gauge her level of interest. So have you guys ever been in a situation where you're chasing a woman and you can't gauge her level of interest because you're the one doing all the chasing? Do you, I mean, do you guys, how do you come to a conclusion that a woman's not interested in you? Go ahead, Kenny.
When you've tried a couple different ways and you tried to show her that you're willing to be intentional and show interest in certain things, as for letting her know that you pique her interest, and she acts like you're not there, or she doesn't take you seriously enough. And it goes back to that old adage, if someone wants to be with you or check for you, they'll find time. And then you have to look in the mirror and, you know, to lick your wounds and say, okay, time to make space.
I think the worst position you could be in as a man is for a woman who you're chasing. She doesn't dislike you, but she doesn't like you enough to be yours. And she might give you just enough attention that you keep chasing her. And you're too dog shit stupid to understand the difference. And that happens to a lot of guys, right? There's a chance when you're in between, right? You might even get lucky, right? She might even give you a little mercy piece or whatever, as you thinking it's more than what it is. And there's a lot of guys who fall into that trap, but not with a lot of women. So sometimes it's nice when a woman just tells you, listen, I'm not interested no matter what you do. No matter what you do, you can keep pursuing me. But the worst thing is, well, not the worst thing, the guy in the middle of that says, shit, if I could take a little piece, I'd be happy. But when a woman lets you chase her, but she likes you just enough that she's not throwing up in the back of her throat, and she likes you just a little bit to give you a little bit here and there, you know, that puts you in a position where you're very vulnerable as a guy, because you're always going to want more. And some women, this is where the manipulation comes in. A woman says, I could just give this guy a little taste and he'll give me everything because he thinks it's more than what it is. It's a very bad position to be in. Very bad position to be in. So, and a lot of guys, especially if they have a scarcity mindset, they don't know how to walk away from that. She's got to give them a hard break. You know, so, I mean, just trying to answer the question, you know, it's just, sometimes you chase a woman and it's not a rainbow at the end. There's not a pot of gold at the end of that rainbow.
It's like, what the hell, Payne? I'm serious. I'm land my plane there. Whatever. And so that comes into men having to experience rejection. So do you guys think that women aren't able to handle rejection, or do you guys think that men experience it so much that you get used to dealing with it or handling it?
Men mitigate the feelings of rejection, I think most. And some just know how to compartmentalize it better. I don't know a man on God's green earth that is cool with being rejected by a woman that piques his interest. There's many that handle it to different degrees, that know how to stomach it and, you know, move amicably through the situation, or have developed mechanisms to cope, rather than that FUB, or, you know, being childish and immature and, you know, unstable. Some people are quiet. Some people just make distance. Some people just like, okay, well, that was nice, and just keep it moving. and others handle it real rough and take it on.
Okay. Mitigation. Bob, what do you think? Do you think that guys handle rejection better because you guys are used to it, or there might be some guys who are not used to rejection? There might be some guys who are used to just getting what he wants.
Yeah.
So what happens when he runs across a woman that don't give him what he wants, and now he's rejected? I think it could go both ways for guys, honestly.
Yeah, I think it all depends on the guy. I mean, I've seen it all. I think you got the people that's just off the hinge. So whenever they get some rejection by a woman, they just going crazy and they just start like verbally attacking and sometimes physical. I think you have some guys that understand that they're not chased by women, or women don't pay them no attention. So whenever they do shoot their shot, they're just used to it.
Mhm.
Then you do have the men that you speak about that used to knocking down all the women. And one time you get that no, he can't seem to understand like what it was. I had experience like that in college, man. One of my guys, like he does get a lot of attention from women, and it was a woman that he wanted. She was all right. I think she came over to the crib or whatever. I wound up chopping it up with her a little bit. He caught word that I talked to her, and he was mad at me about the shit. He was like, man, like we having regular conversation, and he like, right. Hey, did you exchange numbers with such and such? Are you talking to her? Okay, all right. How you get her number? What you say? I said, bro, what you talking about? I'm just saying, because I tried to talk to him, and that bitch ain't give me no attention. He was really upset about it. I'm like, bro, we just exchanged numbers. It wasn't really nothing big. I ain't even pursue it like that, but that just let me know that he couldn't handle rejection because he's so used to getting them. He knocked down a lot of women on campus. And I always tell this story like it was 3 roommates, and I probably said on King Talk before, not roommates, but it was 3 neighbors. He knocked down all 3 of them, and all 3 of them knew it. And they was at the physique show, sitting all together, cheering him on. He was on some pimp type shit, like seriously.
Wow. Sure.
And so I'm trying to just paint the picture of what type of mindset we dealing with, that he's used to dealing with women. And I think he had caught it was a situation where I think a woman had put an order of protection on him because he was getting upset with her at one of the dorms. I think he couldn't go in there no more because this woman didn't want to mess with him or stop messing with him. And he was a fighter too. So like he was one of the guys that will fight he's one of the guys on there that will fight anybody bigger than him. Right. He was known for just knocking people out. So like he walk around campus like didn't too many people really want to mess with him. So he was just kind of off the hinges. So he had this anger. He could fight. He's knocking down all the women. Somebody tell him no, or somebody talk to him a certain type of way. He was either fighting or he couldn't handle the rejection when it came to women.
I think everyone needs a healthy level or a healthy relationship with rejection. I think people need a healthy relationship with it because life just isn't fair. Life is not going to give you everything that you want. I think that depending on what you do in life too, like, I was in sales for a long time. And so you just get used to rejection. You get used to people saying, no, stop calling me, stop, like, you know what I mean? Stop bothering me. But there are some people who just do not have that experience under their belt. And so when it happens, it's a huge breakdown. Or you have people who have been chasing, people for a while, and when it doesn't turn out the way that, they expect it to, then they're like, okay, well, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? And at the end of the day, it's just like the last guy said, you want someone that is going to choose you. Because if not, what's the point of the relationship? So I really liked, this guy and his thinking and his story. of telling.
Women, I wanted them. They never wanted me. But when
Yeah.
I met my girl, you know what I'm saying? Shout out wifey, I love you so much. She chose me. She
Right.
wanted me. We met on some natural shit, bro. I never
Right.
even told our story on any kind of interview, bro. I met her one day at the beach, bro. It was a beach party down the shore. It was just regular day. I was with my bro Eric, and we was drunk as hell. They was drunk as hell. So I'm just thinking like, oh, we just met each other. We bumped each other. We just had a little vibe. I got a number.
Right.
That was it. I ain't speak to her for months after that, bro. We just had little side texts here and there, or just little messages on the gram, and that was it. And then one day she just took a chance on me, bro. We went to go see a movie. We went to go see Smile. That was the first movie date we went on. And from there, she been stuck with me. And she chooses me every day. She wakes up and actively chooses me. She go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs over me. Over the slightest little things and shit like that. And even though it'd be annoying, but if you, fellas, if you got a woman that's out there that's like that really cares about you, that just like really, really wants you to be all about her, be all about her, bro. Because at any point,
I'm gonna stop it right here. Have you guys ever been in a situation where a girl was all about you, but you didn't really like her like that? But why? Why didn't you like her like that? And she choosing you, and she all about you. What happened?
She was big like Nell Carter. She was nice. And that's when I was trying to be like, okay, she's cool. I'm just be nice to her. She's like, what's up with me and you? And I was like, what do you mean? And you don't want to hurt her feelings. Be like, but we
You
friends.
can learn that. All you gotta do is just listen.
Big like Nell Carter.
And
Oh my
I
God.
listen, I truly, and when I told her nah, it was like you could see her heart broke in her eyes. It was like a deer. I was like, oh damn. Oh, I got her like an ice cream when they had them fudgicles. I was like, that's just do the fudgicles and just call it a day. But I know she was hurt. Yeah, but you know, I'm sorry. Why you make me tell that story? I hope you ain't
How?
watching.
Okay, so she must have been into you.
Okay,
How much
there's a
did y'all-
part I missed. There's a
time did y'all
part I
sleep?
was. There's a part I did not mention. I knew her. We used to go home from school. This, that, and the third. Like I knew her since we was growing up. And then she did say, you know, I was always liking you, but I didn't know how to say how. And I was there like, no, don't say that. And I was like, we friends. You know,
So
I
that
just
ain't
want to
matter
keep
what
it
you
there.
doing when they don't be into
Huh?
the guy, and it's like we just friends.
This
So
different.
all I'm saying is you could be empathetic to. Remember that
I
word?
was. I tried. But here's the difference. You never heard something called male intuition. You heard something called feminine intuition.
Men have intuition. We all have
Not,
spirits, so I don't think that it's just
not like a woman though.
men.
Not like a woman though. I was like oblivious. I thought she was like mad cool. Didn't see her like that. I'm like, yeah, she's one of the peeps. Just walk home with. She was like, I always liked you. And I was like, so how do
But
I get out of this?
what are the things that she did that in which she chose you, right? So she was into you, which means she chose you. So were there things that she chose to do for you? Because when women are truly into a man, she will choose to do certain things for him. Like it won't be an and, if, or but. Like I'm gonna call you, I'm going to talk to you, I'm going to come over, I am going to cook, I am going to clean your dirty drawers. Like I'm going to do all those things. Were there things that she was choosing to do for you, or she just chose to walk home every day?
Nah, she wasn't just doing a lot. She would come by, she helped me with my homework. She was smart and
Mhm.
stuff like that. And I thought the familiarity, as I thought post me having to let her down, I was like oblivious because I looked at her like a homegirl.
Okay, so when
Because
you had to let her down, did she stop coming around? Did you guys stop, being friends,
she
or was it?
disappeared for a while. And I was kind of hurt because she was part of your regular routine.
Why'd you marry her, Kenny? I was kind of hurt. Like, what?
Why marry her?
Yeah.
Because that would have been the biggest injustice to her, because the feeling has to be mutual. So when you say certain females that's how certain females feel about certain guys, but you're not saying a lot of those females that lead them on because they're getting trinkets. Never sock a gift horse in the mouth. I heard a girl tell me that one time. I was like, what?
What?
Never hit a gift horse in the mouth.
Mm.
Yeah, you ain't gonna give up your little sucker to be everything you want. Girls love nice. Some girls like nice lavish gifts and pleasures and being taken out to eat by this dude who swear he gonna get some. He never gonna get none. You there licking your fingers. This mac and cheese is nice. You my friend. And you still giving them hugs with your butt all out. This way east. Let me give them that. That's about it. And just keep it moving. And she was like,
Well,
just
I mean,
let me
are
know
they
you got
just
home
friends?
safe.
Are
Hmm?
they just friends? I mean, I think that men have to really state when they want to be more than just your friend. We're not about to just assume that
Precious,
we
do you
belong.
know we donkeys? We donkeys sometimes. We have this
No.
aspirational thing in
You
our
can't be a donkey and have control over relationships. The two don't go together.
A what? A
You can't
donkey?
be an ass. You
Precious.
can't be an ass, but have control over
Yeah, like Eeyore.
over the relationship, right? They say women are in control of sex, men are in control of relationships.
Okay.
You can't be a donkey, but have that access to have control over a relationship, because you're gonna look like you don't know what you're doing.
You really believe that sentence that you just said right there? A woman that knows how to work her whims can have a man spinning in circles. You thought Sunshine off of Harlem Nights was just the character?
No, but at the same time, it was so you're saying her coochie solidified the relationship, or was it the reason why he just wanted to leave home? Did he
Precious, let me give you the build up. She had him at the bar. Pain, am I right or wrong? If you remember Harlem Nights, before he even got a piece of that cookie, she had him wrapped around the finger from the bar.
Yeah.
A woman knows a way to bat her eyes and speak to you.
Again, that's manipulation. A woman can use whatever she needs to use to get whatever she wants. However, I mean, that's a fact. That's a fact. Am I lying? Am I lying? I mean, women use what they have to get what they want, but is it the relationship, or is she just getting things for you because you're just good for it? There's a difference. Women don't use their coochie for relationships. It's you who give the access for, all right, it's good enough. We go together now.
You know, this world is funny. The point that you just made, you don't think women have the power to be able to manipulate a man in the way she wants, even though he is the head and she is the neck?
I believe that should happen after you get married through femininity. Yes, she does.
You know what? That leads.
Is she choosing the relationship and solidifying it, or is he doing it? No man should be manipulated by a woman. You will be.
Precious, you really believe that?
Yes, I do.
Well, a woman doesn't manipulate a man?
No,
I'm saying you will be manipulated, but you shouldn't be manipulated. You will be manipulated because she's a woman and she got what she has to get what she wants. But you as a man shouldn't be manipulated.
So Kenneth, can I jump in for you? Can I jump in for a second?
Level to be manipulated, and that woman.
I agree with Precious. Can I just jump in real quick? I think it's an age-related thing, because every man who's had a reasonable dating life has been through it. I was manipulated by a chick when I went to school, and she was young. I still like her. I mean, I know her name, but I was 19. And when she finally broke my heart, I had a whole cadre of frat brothers who unmercifully beat that shit out of me, right? And then so I never was able. A woman was never able to do that to me again. And
That's
and
a
it was a
lie.
woman. Well, no, hold on. Let me just say it. And it was a woman who helped me with that because I remember this sister. She was a little older than me, and we had a conversation. And she told me the one thing that a woman has over a man is what's between her legs. And she said, if you lose yourself to that, you're lost. That was a lesson I learned at 19. And so when I learned that lesson, I said, you know what? I'm 66. I never forgot. I never forgot it. I never let myself be that vulnerable again. But one of the things about me, and I'll end this right here. All the girls that I've had, not millions of them, I actually like the women I went to bed with. I actually like
really?
Yes, I actually like
half of these guys
I think that's a difference. I think that's a difference. Huh?
A.R. Payne, you said you referred to the women you stepped out on with the girl that you lived with
That
as
was one.
them raggedy bees and this, that, and the third.
That's one
And
chick.
also to broach the point of you never being vulnerable, you're married. Of course you're vulnerable. We watched your wife, respect to her, and happy anniversary and relationship. She came up here and made you tuck your tail.
Did she?
He didn't tuck his tail.
Oh, look,
He didn't tuck his tail.
look. Okay. Yeah, you know what? Let's put it that way. I was brave enough with no rehearsal to have my wife get on the phone with you savages. Okay.
You know how you started? I was brave enough.
I'm comfortable with it.
He got
JR, did you hear that? He started, I was brave enough.
Of course. Because that means I don't try to sit down here and tell
something
her
wrong
what
with
to
my
say.
ears.
I
told her come up here.
Be brave to come on YouTube with the way these people act on here.
You're damn right. They were questioning my wife, man, without me with a script. I'm saying, wait a minute, this shit could go wrong real fast, but it didn't. Right? Because my wife is cool.
In my opinion, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I don't think manipulation is necessarily manipulation in a marriage when it's done in a healthy way. There are healthy ways to be manipulated in a marriage so you can get things done as a collective. I think when you're outside of marriage, it becomes a very selfish exchange between two people, manipulation. But there's a healthy way to manipulate someone that you're married to so you can get them to move in a certain way that you need them to move. I mean, that goes down with the history of marriage. If you're in a healthy, masculine, balanced, feminine relationship, I mean, that goes without saying. And it's not a negative manipulation. Again, it's a manipulation that helps with the collective of production for the family and the relationship.
Okay, you see the caveat.
100% correct.
The caveat that you brought in was negative, like you just said. I didn't parse out negative. I said women can be manipulative, be it that you're dating them, you're wooing them, you're courting them, you're engaged to them, you're married to them. If a woman knows how to work within her femininity, like I said before, her soft voice can hit like a boulder. She can make you move mountains for her. And that does not have to be negative. I know my man, the one I cleave to, I'm going to manipulate certain situations for my benefit, but not in a way that I'm going to hurt the one that I love. Because sometimes I'm going to do it because I want my way. We all are selfish in some ways. If he's not speeding up to marry me quick enough, I might lightly shame him in front of my girlfriends. He knows I love him. I've been having this engagement. I don't know what to call it, friendship ring, for over 3 years now. But he's my baby, and she's make sure he's earshot of that, so he can just like stick him. So he'll eventually like, I just need to marry because I don't need to be in this no more because I ain't going nowhere. She ain't going nowhere. We're gonna sit and rest our life together till we old and in the convalescent home. All right. She just manipulated him.
No,
to do the right thing.
No,
To do the right thing.
to do the right thing? Is he huffing and puffing going down the aisle, or does he want to do this? Like, a man can't be manipulated to get married. If he got manipulated to be married, he wasn't a strong man to begin with.
Precious. There are what? They got whole shows about men
And
that
what?
fell under that pressure to get married.
What, like the ultimatum?
Yeah.
Okay, so are they being manipulated to be married in that show?
That's
Or
not.
are
That's
they
not.
or are they being pushed to make a choice and stop chasing? Don't chase me, choose me.
So I always like to look at the actual definition because I know sometimes it's all about perception. So we look at the definition. It says to handle or control in a skillful manner. Definition number 2 says control or influence cleverly, unfairly, or unscrupulously. Have you say that word?
Yeah, scrupulously. Yeah.
Unscrupulously. So that's what the definition say. So we talk about cleverly, unfairly, control or influence. I think it might be some manipulation if we're looking at the definition. Now, and if you say it wasn't my intent, or you know how people like to throw a little sauce on it and try to curve up when we look at the actual word, I do think there might be a form of manipulation. It's not bad manipulation, but it's skillful, it's clever. It's sending out a signal, hoping that that person receives it.
I think the intent truly matters. Are you trying to do you want to marry this man because you chose him? Or are you wanting to marry this man because it guarantees you a different caliber of life, which it should anyway. However, some women see the caliber of life and they don't see the character of the man. Right? That's why they want to do it. That's why they're manipulating this guy. That's why they're trying to hurry it along. Women also have time clocks. So, I mean, Jesus is capable of everything. He's a miracle worker, but at the same time, in our fleshly minds and and hearts and thoughts, we don't think that it can happen in a time that we need it to. And so women may try to manipulate the situation for it to happen that way. But I think manipulation comes in when you have ill intent and when you don't have, the character to actually say, no, I'm I'm actually choosing you. And when women don't feel like the man is then choosing her, it's like, all right, well, let me, try and hurry this along. But I don't necessarily think that a woman can make a man marry her. Unless she under some type of duress, I don't.
Yeah,
That's the
women
second
women can make a man marry her, but it's still his accountability and his responsibility to do it.
Okay.
So if you're thinking about whether a woman can make a man, say I do, marry, say, ask for her hand in marriage. Oh, of course a woman could do that to a guy, but the guy is weak if he's not making the choice. And he makes the choice if she wants him to make the choice. That's why guys get into bad relationships. That's why a guy like Joe Smith married a lady who was a porn star, right? I mean, most men empirically understand that you can't marry a woman like that. You could have fun with her, but you can't marry. But why did he do it? Why? Because he was weak. He was weak. He did something against his best. Well, women know how to manipulate, but like I said, what my man Kenny said, doesn't always have to be nefarious. Let me give you a quick example. If you're in a good relationship, or let's say a marriage, my wife, one of the things, I'm going to just use her, she understands that no matter what, how to leave my ego intact. Right? There's no skin off her back to make sure I leave the house with my ego intact, right? She knows how to edify me just like I know how to edify her. Right. So that's what a lot of times, that's how a woman can multiply the things you got going. If she don't have nothing nice to say, she won't say. If I'm doing something wrong, she'll tell me to do something better. Right. If so as long as I have to ladder up against the right wall, then we're just moving down the track. So that's the point. So women, that's the one thing. She has a gift. Some women don't have that gift.
Exactly, Arpain. It's a gift. I'm not going to embarrass you or have you out here looking crazy or, exploit you. Like, you know what I mean? Those are things that every woman doesn't have those capabilities to mask certain things or not say certain things when they want to say those certain things, or able to hold them back. And so and those women usually are able to get what they need. All right. So we're going to get into final thoughts tonight. I really enjoyed this show. I hope you guys have too. Those who support it on Facebook, those who are watching from thank you to King, Sean. They had to drop off, but I think King's page is still back here streaming the show. So I appreciate that. Thank you guys in the chat. Bomb Cherry Juice said hubby knew if he didn't get married at that time, he was going to lose me. Okay. She said or lose me. So he had to make a choice. And I don't think that's necessarily manipulation if they both chose each other for, the right reasons, healthy reasons. So good for you. Trey said, I manipulate my wife all the time. He said, that's how I get it. Okay, that's what we gotta get done. There's not healthy manipulation. To me, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, because you have to be knowledgeable about what's going to move that person that you're with. You have to be knowledgeable about it and not move them in a negative way, but again, move them in a way where there is progression and not degression. So, all right, guys, final thoughts. We'll start with Kenny P. We'll move our way over to Lapeep, and then we'll go to Arpain.
I think this was another very productive episode of thoughts being shared by intelligent, like-minded people in the community, spreading a message that teaches, also gives different perspectives and introspection to look into things. Hopefully they can take a part of this into their lives and may be uplifting and positive. And, support, subscribe, tell a friend, ×5, so we can grow this pond. And I'm thankful that I'm allowed to be on these settings with great people. Bid you a good night.
Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate you.
Good night. Good night.
All right, final thoughts from my end. Thank you, Precious, for having me, and thank the panel for your perspectives. And I salute to Precious for continuously to being consistent, because that's one of the hard things that a lot of people don't do, is be consistent, but she seems to have it down packed. Also, knowledge is everything, man. I don't think that we're too old to learn. So let's make sure that we are collecting all the data we can from people, books, YouTube, wherever you need to get it from. Just make sure you have an open mind to be able to receive that knowledge, and just try to apply it to your life and see if it works. Always be a student of life.
All right.
Get that understanding, get that knowledge. Thank you, Lapeef. I appreciate you. As always, Arpain, final thoughts?
Thanks for letting me up. I appreciate these conversations too. It's funny, as somebody who retired in 2020, you always look for stuff to do to fill a void, right? So I'm I started my own channel, do a couple of things. So one of the things I find about these YouTube streets is that it makes you reflect on your life and the things you've tried, so the terminology might have changed. But the one thing that I find out about being up here is I've made so many good choices in my life. And it was only by divine intervention. Because back then, the way I was thinking, I would never have been able to articulate some of the things I did to get to where I'm at. I just was moving on a path, and it just seems like it's strange. And the only reason why it seems like it's strange, because it seems like so many young people are having trouble doing it now. And I'm not saying nobody ever told me a damn thing. They didn't tell me about love. They didn't tell me about school. They didn't tell me. I don't know how I found all these things. I had to just say, you know what do you have to do as a man, right? How do you get that? So, so looking back from these streets and, the old kind of stuff, I've seen so many decades, You know, and it's really interesting. And so, you know, so I tried when I first got up on YouTube, I was like just like everybody else. I didn't know how to navigate it, so I'm a whole lot calmer to look at it. You know, everything can't be like Fight Club, you know, that kind of stuff. And just one more thing to Bomb Cherry Juice, I was going to say that she said something about giving her man an ultimatum. One thing about ladies that you need to realize, if you're in a long-term relationship and the guy ain't asking you, it don't take years. It just doesn't. Especially if you're in those sweet spots of your age. If you're 28, you don't have time to waste 5 years on a man. Don't. You just don't. And so anyway, so with that, thank you. Oh yeah, hey JR, you know, I got that little assured man on my thing over here. Now I got a little beard. I got a little, you know.
I appreciate you.
Yeah. Say what?
I appreciate it, man.
No problem. I just thought I'd say that. You know, I'm trying to now. I'm even like buying like black-owned stuff.
Support
you know
black
what I'm saying?
businesses.
Yeah, there you go. Support black business. Anyway, all right. Good night, everybody. Thanks for having
Thank
us.
you, Arpine. I appreciate you. I appreciate all you guys because you have different perspectives, different age groups. I think that's why a lot of people actually like watching the show because they can get a young perspective, they can get a baby boomer's perspective, they can get you know, Sean, who is like, you know, us men need to do better, and you know, they can get that hard rock Hank who's like, no, I'm not down for the BS. Like, you know, those different personalities really make this show great because you get all types, you know, of the man. So I appreciate you guys and dedicating your time to do this on Monday nights with me and along with everyone else in the chat. Thank you guys as well, because we appreciate your contributions as well as your interactions. It's funny sometimes looking over in the chat and seeing some of the side conversations and you know, innuendos and just comments. So I thank you guys because you don't have to be here, but you choose to. So you choosing me. You ain't chasing me. You're choosing me now.
We got to find the guy who's going to lock you down. That's what we need to do. Is find him.
Look, I might disappear off of social media. You probably won't see me no more. Real talk, you won't see me no more. It's going to be about family, not about social media. But I think you guys, my final thoughts would be definitely choose and not chase. You know, life is too short and you want to choose someone again if they were not to change from that day on for the rest of their lives. You want to make sure that you are so enthralled with them that, you know, whatever comes your way, you can handle it. Whatever comes your way, you're definitely sticking together as a team and getting through it. But men say why you never chase a woman. I don't think that men should chase women either. I think that you should be an adult, be a mature adult and do the choosing as God has given you that dominion and that authority to do. Anyone can chase, but it takes a special type of person to choose. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going to end this. And you guys know that I always say, keep it real with yourself so you can keep it real with others. Happy Tuesday.
All right.